This is the AM News. Details now. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofibua, has ordered an immediate revocation of the mining license of Akonta Mining Company Limited. And this follows a series of allegations of the company's involvement in illegal mining activities and a breach of mining regulations. Addressing a press conference, the Lands Minister reveals that Akonta Mining is not engaged in Galamsey. It is also selling concessions in the Aboy forest to illegal miners for 300,000 Ghana cedis and sometimes in exchange for gold royalties. James Aveji tells us more in this report.
Before he could even open the presser, the Lands Minister, Emmanuel Amakofibua, broke down after watching a clip of the devastation caused to rivers and forest reserves by Galamsey activities. He says he's overwhelmed by the level of destruction meted on the environment by these illegal miners.
I was emotional. I couldn't, I've watched that video after the operations. I watched that video, and every time I watch it, I get emotional because I cannot believe that we have Ghanaian citizens that will decide that this is how they are going to make money. And I believe every Ghanaian should be emotional as I am. I was trying to avoid it.
Giving details on the findings by the ministry, he said Akonta Mining Company is not only engaging in Galamsey activities, but also selling concession in the Aboy forest to illegal miners for money and gold.
This company has not only trespassed into protected reserves, but has become a criminal syndicate, selling assets of the Aboy Forest Reserve to illegal miners for a staggering 300,000 Ghana cedi per concession. One representative of Akonta Mining, is the liaison of these dealings. He serves as the gatekeeper, negotiating fees and granting illegal access. The concessions are then subleased to individuals like one Mr. Henry and another individual identified as Shak, who are to oversee the devastation of the Aboy Forest Reserve in the Tano River. As part of the agreement between Akonta Mining and the illegal miners, a weekly royalties of 250 grams of gold are to be paid to the company, lining the pockets of Akonta's collaborators. Another breakthrough revelation is that this criminal enterprise thrives because of the active collusion and connivance of some forestry officers and some security personnel. Here is how it works. Part of the 300,000 Ghana cedi fees goes to the Akonta Mining, a portion goes to Sahari and Shak and their cohorts, and another portion goes to the forestry and security officials, according to investigators. These officers take a cut as a service charge in exchange for protection and tip-offs in the event of an impending raid.
He has ordered an immediate revocation of Akonta Mining's license and interdiction of all persons involved in this illegality.
In light of the overwhelming evidence, I have authorized the Minerals Commission to immediately take steps to revoke the lease of Akonta Mining with immediate effect. I've directed the Forestry Commission officials connected to these illegalities be immediately interdicted pending further investigations and prosecution. Security agencies have been notified to investigate security officers who have had dealings with Akonta Mining in this particular forest reserve.
Providing some updates on the ongoing police clampdown on Galamsey activities, the minister said at least 51 persons have been arrested with excavators and a number of ammunitions.
The operation in compartment 19, which began at 5 a.m. on that day, lasted for a whopping 12 hours. And the last 3 days has also continued. So far, 51 arrests have been made. 8 Chinese national, 39 Ghanaian, and 4 women. So far, we have seized about 30 excavators. 5 have been required impounded at the operation base 2 pump action guns loaded with 5 and 2 rounds of BP cartridges each, 1 single barrel gun retrieved. We have confiscated 2 Toyota Hellos pickups, 1 Toyota RAV4, 4 motorbikes, and a cache of mining equipment. All suspects have been transported to Accra and in the custody of the Ghana Police Service pending prosecution.
Meanwhile, calls still persist for government to halt the deportation of foreigners involved in Galamsey and allow them to stand prosecution. James Avaji's report read to you.
Hashtag Stop Galamsey Now, hashtag Say No to Galamsey still on. The fight is very much active. Now let's do some other stories, because the Upper East Regional Minister, Donatus Akamgri, has assured that the new National Democratic Congress government will reassess key projects initiated by the previous NPP administration, particularly the One Village, One Dam initiative. In a recent meeting, the Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, that's NOPRA, presented findings of its monitoring and evaluation of the One Village, One Dam, which found that the dams have further fallen into despair. And the Upper Regional Minister acknowledged the pressing issues highlighted by community members regarding the effectiveness of the dams constructed under the policy. More in this report.
The One Village, One Dam initiative was launched with the promise of enhancing food security and addressing widespread poverty in northern Ghana, where a majority of the population relies on rain-fed agriculture. However, the small-scale irrigation dams intended to support year-round farming were poorly constructed, and farmers could not use them for the intended purposes. The Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, a civil society organization, conducted some monitoring and evaluation of the One Village, One Dam initiative. Their findings revealed that even the poorly constructed dams have further fallen into disrepair. During visits to dams in Zanlergu in the Napdam district, Kunkwa in the Bolgatanga East district, and Ayopia in the Bongo district, where former President Nana Akufo-Addo first inaugurated the One Village, One Dam project, community members said the dams had dried up by March and were now deemed completely useless.
There's nothing like water as we stand now. It has been dried up, and we are in the month of March, and this is not the time it dries up. It dries up by December, January, which means that we cannot use it as the purpose that it was constructed for.
There's not even a little water in it. There's nothing. If you want to even do dry season farm, you can't even get a place to farm. We will be much grateful if the government could come in to build on this dam.
The Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, says since 2024, they have extended their monitoring to cover a majority of the over 500 One Village, One Dam projects constructed across northern Ghana, and discovered that the dams were not fit for purpose. NOPRA, therefore, decided to present the findings of their evaluation of the One Village, One Dam projects to the new NDC government through the Upper East Regional Minister, in the hope that this government will revisit the initiative. Bismarck Ayorgo is the Executive Director of NOPRA.
Seeing that the millions of Ghana cedis sank into construction of these dams was nothing but a total drain on the public purse of this country. We want to urge government to, in the name of transparency and accountability, call all actors or people who are responsible in implementing these policies to account to the good people of this country what they did with the taxpayers' money. That today, you go around all the 5 regions in northern Ghana and you cannot see any water in these dams that we have sunk so much into digging. all of them are dry. Because in this region, there is enough water, and people who even use hands to dig, they are able to get water. How come we spent on the average 670,000 Ghana cedis each for these dams, and we cannot have water? It's a serious matter.
Upper East Regional Minister Donatus Akamukri gave the assurance that the current NDC government will reassess key projects initiated by the previous administration, including the One Village, One Dam initiative.
This does not suggest that the government is going to do witch hunting. It doesn't mean that every procurement that has been done in a shoddy manner. But those of them that Ghanaians are shortchanged, obviously this government will call for serious investigations and then actions taken. We can assure you of that. We've taken it as a guide that all the pro-poor policies that we are bringing into play, we will follow religiously the regime, the policy regimes, and make sure that whatever is due the citizenry gets to them.
It remains to be seen when the NDC government will revisit the One Village, One Dam initiative and commit resources to improving the dams to make them fit for dry season irrigation farming. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sorry, Bolgatanga.
The Upper East Region Airport project has received a significant boost with a recent visit of Yvonne Opari, that's the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, who inspected the proposed site at Sumburgu. The visit follows an earlier promise by President John Dramani Mahama to the people of the region during his thank you tour that they will finally get an airport under his government. Our correspondent Albert Sorry reports again.
The Upper East Region is situated over 800 kilometers from Accra. Therefore, journeys by bus typically take a minimum of 12 hours to reach the capital and 8 hours to get to Kumasi. Currently, the nearest airport is in Tamale, which is about 3 hours by road, highlighting the urgent need for an airport in the region to make it easier for people to travel by air, especially in emergencies. The demand by the people of the Upper East Region for an airport has intensified, particularly in light of recent safety concerns along the Bolgatanga-Waliwali-Tamale Highway, where attacks and killings have surged. In response to these security issues and the long-standing need for direct access to air travel, a social group known as Alangube initiated preparatory works on the abandoned site at Sombrongo and rallied support from residents and stakeholders to draw attention to the project.
What we have done on our own selves, together with our social group Alangube, is to create this runway of 120 meters by 3,500, which is more than an international airport runway. But the land is far. We can even make 4 or 5 runways in this airport area. So it is not small. The airport is not a proposed anymore from today. We have all agreed from Sumburunga and a team here, and we are here to hand over the land.
During his thank you tour in March, President John Mahama pledged to address the long-standing Upper East Region Airport project.
I've also asked the Managing Director of the Ghana Airports Company to commence the sourcing of funding for the construction of the Upper East Regional Airport. We intend to do this under a PPP model in conjunction with the gold mining companies in this region, since this will allow them also to airlift their gold bullion safely to Accra directly from the Upper East Region.
The President has now taken a step further by delegating the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Yvonne Opari, to visit the site for the airport project in Sombrongo. After her inspection, the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company reaffirmed the government's commitment to making the airport a reality.
And I'm here with my technical team to assess the land that you are giving us to establish the direction of His Excellency, the President John Dramani Mahama, to establish an airport at the Upper East region. I want to take the opportunity to thank the Alan Gube group who have spent their own resources to grade the land and create the path for a runway up to about 2,000 meters. This shows a lot of seriousness for this project, and the President also attaches a lot of seriousness to it, and we know that as the months go along, you will see some visible signs of us having started this project.
Upper East Regional Minister Donatus Akamokri Atanga also emphasized the airport's potential to transform the local economy.
This area, in fact, it's going to be the airport that will supersede all the airports in this country. Because what we have here, we have 9 out of 15 municipal and district assemblies that have gold deposits. And so, which means that the mining companies will need a faster means of conveying their staff as well as conveying their products. Apart from that, this area, we have 15 municipal or district assemblies, and you have about 8 district assemblies that are border assemblies. And border districts means that, international business will boom.
With the visit from the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company and the renewed commitment from the government, the people of the Upper East region are hopeful that the long-awaited airport will soon become a reality. For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
In other stories, a group calling itself the Aggrieved and Concerned Youth of the NDC in Pandai Constituency have expressed their frustrations over unexplained delays and alleged irregularities in the process of the nomination of a DCE for the area. The youth are questioning the party leadership's actions and transparency. Convener Solomon Nambu alleges that they have information there were schemes to sidestep the 3 who qualified at the original vetting for one of the failed aspirants. And Martina Bugri will tell us more.
17 candidates were vetted at the regional level with the following 3: Young Sapaku Robert, David Mensah Jampa, and Weja Gideon, being shortlisted to proceed to the national level. Currently, the Pandai district nomination of a DC is on hold. But addressing a press conference in Pandai, the youth said they have information some 3 persons are attempting to smuggle into the list of the 3 nominees a certain applicant who was not shortlisted at the regional level. The convener of the group, Solomon Nambu, said they are demanding an explanation on why there is a delay in the nomination of a DCE.
The national vetting process has been unjustifiably halted without any official communication or explanation to the party members and stakeholders in Pandai. This unexplained delay has halted development within Pandai district and fueled widespread suspicions and anger among members and their stakeholders who fear that the party's internal democracy is being undermined by a few self-serving individuals. On keeping the good people of Pandai awaiting in abeyance, the concerned youth of the great NDC deemed it prudent to meet with the constituency chairman to know the reasons for the unexplained delay in the appointment of the DC for the Pandai district. On that account, a meeting was convened at the party's office on Tuesday, 15th April 2025. To the utmost dismay of the youth, the chairman, in an absurd and a condescending manner, told the peeved youth he would not have honored the invitation if he had known the agenda for the meeting earlier.
He said they are also demanding the DCE be picked from the 3 shortlisted from the regional level.
A surprising revelation was laid bare by chairman, which took everyone present there aback when he was asked about the state of the 3 individuals who were shortlisted. Shockingly, Chairman claimed he was never aware of any shortlisted individuals and further asserted that constituency chairmen are never consulted in the vetting processes. How can you be a panelist and can't tell who were qualified or otherwise for the regional vetting? Was it the same 17 individuals who filed that proceeded to the national level for the final vetting, or some 3? We want to bring to the attention of those individuals that whatever orchestrations they are engineering, we are fully aware, and we will stand up to them and resist vehemently. Sure. We are not cowards. The intel we have suggests that these persons are attempting to smuggle into the list of the 3 nominees a certain applicant who was not shortlisted at the regional level during the vetting process. They are all contribution to the party. They are doing this simply because that person is the weakest. He easily yields to pressure. Yes. Exactly. He's unprincipled and can easily be manipulated by them. Yes. Embodied with these traits, they feel he is the best person they can use as a conduit for their selfish and parochial gains. Yes. We won't sit aloof to allow such a character push down our throats.
Away from that, General Overseer of Christ Resurrection Church, Apostle Joseph Mensah, has urged Parliament to swiftly pass the anti-gay bill for a presidential assent. The controversial anti-LGBTQ+ bill was sent back to Parliament as a private member's bill after failing to get the executive of the previous administration to assent to it. Apostle Mensah wants the Christian community to sustain pressure to get the bill passed and subsequent assent of the president. Nanaya Ojima has more in this report.
At the dissolution of the previous parliament, all bills that were in the legislative process and others awaiting presidential assent were dropped. For this reason, the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill was affected. Former President Nana Akufo-Addo refused to sign it into law, citing legal challenges. The bill, which prescribes a 3-year jail term for people who identify as gay and 5 to 10 years for promoters and advocates, is widely condemned by the international community. But Apostle Mensah wants it passed.
Bible speaks about against these things. So those who do not believe, even the country, in our cultural system, these things are alien to us. So the law should be enacted so that it will help. For us Christians, who are real Christians, we know and understand that it is something we do not have to go near it. But if the law is sanctioned, I think it will help to even bring all those who are not Bible believers to come into the fold for us to stand against this. In fact, it will destroy our generations.
The General Overseer was speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the Christ Resurrection Church's 40th anniversary. The launch coincided with the Easter celebration by the Christian community.
Even the name Christ Resurrection Church depicts that we cherish Easter, the time that Jesus rose for us. The church also rose. God gave us that life, and he had a covenant with us as the church started. For 39 years, Jesus has been faithful to his church, has protected the church, and help us even to extend the gospel to so many areas.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And that's a wrap for the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. We take a break, and when we return, the news review is up next. Dr. Kuyamwako joins us and Dr. Samaye joins us. Please stay. We'll be right back. Welcome aboard the news review segment on the AM Show. Ben and I are here to steer the conversations for you. Hi, Ben. Haven't seen you in a bit. And
good morning.
Let's introduce our guest, shall we? Well,
joining the conversation, we have Dr. Ikea Amwako. Sorry, I took the scoop from you there. She's a member of the MPP's communications team, together with Dr. Samaye, a member of the NDC's communications team. Both of them join the conversation with us this morning. Here we go, lady, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
One in a shade of maroon and other colors. The other one in a shade of blue and royal blue, I think, and black and all of that.
Incidentally, my party colors.
But definitely both of them looking fine.
Yes, very fine.
Thank you very much.
And actually, for the first time, I've seen you smile.
Oh, what was it?
Well, let me start with you then. You know how we do it. You have about a minute and a half to share your reflections on any topical issue with us. So, go.
Yes, I thank you very much. Good morning to our viewers, yourself and my co-panelists, Doc. I want to first of all commend the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for once again honoring the business community, putting in place measures to bolster business development in this country. I want to commend the Minister for Finance, the Chief of Staff, for making sure that that program that happened in the Kwao Business Forum was a success. I have spoken to major industry players on the forum. You know, that's where we find ourselves in as a country, where we have soaring unemployment rates. Definitely measures must be put in place to expand the business sector to accommodate the many young people who have been left to their fate. So when I saw the program being launched, the early, program that led to the final program in Kwao, that was launched by the Chief of Staff at the Jubilee House. I was extremely happy that a program like that was going to be launched. So I want to commend the government and its leadership for putting up that beautiful program that saw the inclusion of all other people in different political barriers. I saw the minority leader, I saw the former agri minister, who are all key players in the MPP government at the time, taking part in the initiative. I want to commend the government for that inclusive initiative that will, at the end of the day, ensure that business booms and we have more young people getting jobs to do.
All right, thank you. Dr. Ikea Amwako, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Share your thoughts with us.
This morning, actually, there's so much that's on my mind. Events yesterday, the government that promised us that in less than 2 weeks, the president should be able to deal with the Galamsey crisis in less than 2 weeks, is now publicly shedding tears on national TV, which I found a little embarrassing. It is quite obvious with everything they are doing that they are lost at sea as to how to handle this Galamsey.
What did you find embarrassing? Is it the tears that the minister was shedding, or the reason he was shedding the tears?
Everything they said leading up to this year about the fight against Galamsey and how the executive had the ultimate authority to stop that. Somebody even gave a timeline of 2 weeks. And to come into government and after 4 months, no headway, nothing new done, and to stoop to the level of political gimmicks and all of that, to shed tears on national TV. I can see the look on your face, but the tears that were shed, how does that help the problem? It's just a gimmick.
Is it not a human thing to do, to get emotional over a situation an avoidable situation that has caused such destruction to our...
No, not what we expect from our ministers. You have the power now. And it's just because of especially because of, on the back of everything they said last year when they were in opposition. There, they believed that they had the answers. There, they believed that they knew what needed to be done that was not being done. So if you come in the first 4 months, your commitment to it is absolutely subpar, especially the way most of the people that were at the forefront of the Galamsey fight have found out to be that they were all agents of the NDC at that time. And so they are not even getting as much pressure as we did but they are not making any headway. And to come and sit on TV and cry, to me, it is the height of mediocrity and incompetence, because you have the ultimate power to do something about it. If you are crying, what should the rest of us do?
Okay. Benjamin, I know you want to come in. So
two things. I'll reflect on both of the two things they've reflected on. I think what happened in Kwewu was beautiful. I think we can set aside partisan politics on many grounds. It was beautiful what happened there. And I think it's something that must continue. Kwewu is big during this time. And I think it's something we must harness. People don't get it, but the paragliding and all of that, yes. But what it contributes to the economy of Kwewuman, if you like, is huge. That's why I also keep reiterating what Samir Wuku did in his constituency, the Ophir market. Fantastic. Would that many such, MPs were doing similar things, not at the same time, but at different times to boost the local economy. I think it's fantastic. So good things happening there, and we need to keep it up and make it even better. On the bit about crying or weeping, we don't elect leaders to come and cry to us. They're elected to come and solve problems. And so, yes, there may be moments where people are consumed by emotion and they feel it is necessary to cry. But by and large, the bottom line is we brought you in here to come and solve problems, not to come and lament or cry. Having said that, if you look at the Galamsey problem, it's not a problem that will even take a year or 2 years to fix. The measures can be put in place, but rooting out Galamsey will take time. We've always said that. It's the will we wanted to see. But I have a quick question. Since you don't like people crying, do you remember Dr. Stephen Amwa lamenting the economy and crying, Mama? Do you remember Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid and we must save the soul of Ghana, my former classmate? Do you remember?
And Ben,
I mean,
now we're in 2025, right? The NDC is in power. So they have the ball. The ball is in their court. They have the ultimate responsibility. Our taxes are taking care of them. Samia is looking very fine this morning. Everything, they have ultimate power over everything in the country. So now it is up to them to move.
Okay, so this is what I think, and Ben, I agree with you. Beautiful thing we saw in Kwewu, especially the former president and the sitting president, and that camaraderie between them was beautiful. But on whether or not our ministers can cry, I think we shouldn't chastise the man, because I truly think it's a human thing he did. Yes, you may interpret it as political gimmicks, or Ben, you can say that we don't put you in power so you can come and cry.
Well, I'm not saying they can't cry. Yeah. I'm saying they are put there too. As for cry, it's your choice. But I also wanted her to remember that, this cry thing.
Then you said that NDC is now in power. They did say that until they assume power, we cannot really ascertain the level of destruction and, how deep the rot is. So is it possible that now realizing, and some of the revelations that came out yesterday about Akonta Mining, not just, doing illegal mining, but also granting mining concessions to people, charging them, hold on 1 second. I think it's possible that he was just overwhelmed.
No, I don't.
So let's not just go on the tangent of
anybody
in power,
who has been at the forefront of this Galamsey
now for 4 months.
Anybody who knows the actual facts on the ground, which I do believe my NDC brothers and sisters are very much aware. They've been very much aware of this thing for a very long time. When they were going there to campaign to these people, they knew the true state of affairs. They know the big players. They understand what is going on. So it is not as if in 4 months he's seeing something different. He was just shocked at how he was coming to politicize and play more gimmicks when the bread and butter matter of the issue is not solved. I'm sure I've seen the newspapers is talking about this Akonta Mining.
Yes.
So I'm sure we would get into that. So let's
do that. Let's start then. The Ghanaian Times newspaper, I think I'll find that story in here. So let's just start. Government revokes Akonta Mining lease for trespassing Tano Nimre Forest Reserve, according to Lands Minister. At Kwewu Business Forum, quote, "We are turning the corner," according to President Mahama. Tributes pouring from the world leaders after Pope Francis's death, and women empowerment in Chiame, minority leader pledges support. And so, of course, we want to start from page 14, where we have the story of government's revocation of Akonta Mining licenses. And it says, the government has revoked the lease of Akonta Mining Company Limited with immediate effect. This is because Akonta Mining does not have a lease to mine in Tanonimre Forest Reserve, making their mining activities in the forest illegal and criminal. And I just want to read out some of the details that came in yesterday. He added that the company has not only trespassed into protected reserves, but has become a criminal syndicate, selling access of the Aboy Forest Reserve to illegal miners for a staggering 300,000 Ghana cedis per concession. Dr. Kiamwako, is this not overwhelming?
No, actually, they are allegations. If it were true, it would be very serious. But we'll get into that. Are you?
Yes, please. Let me hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, if it were true, those would be very damning allegations. But first, let me just say, I'm not here to speak on behalf of Akonta Mining. I'm sure they have a spokesperson, and then you can reach out to them. But I'm just here as an honest Ghanaian who has been watching what has been going on for some time now. So Akonta Mining have said over and over that they have even put a halt on their mining activities. They haven't been mining for a while. Truly, they were granted some concessions in some forest reserves. Even the Fourth Estate did one of their stories on the matter, in which they found that actually all the leases that were granted to them to mine in forest reserves, they hadn't started mining in those forest reserves. And Akonta Mining has come out several times to say that for about over a year now, they're actually not mining. They're engaging in reforestation to go on. The second thing is, if you are actually familiar with...
but he didn't say that they don't have mining licenses at all. It's just the Tanonimre Forest where they were mining. They don't have a mining license to mine there.
Akonta Mining has come out to say they are not mining. Akonta Mining as a company has put a halt on their mining activities for a while now, actually, to focus on their reforestation efforts. That is what Akonta Mining has told us. And so, as I was saying, anybody that is very familiar with the Galamsey areas and how they operate, these small-scale miners actually doing illegal mining. And if you know the scale at which Akonta Mining was operating, when they were operating, you know they are not doing small-scale. They are going into rock mining and that kind of thing.
I seem to recall, not very clearly, the president making some sort of address, and he said, I want to state emphatically that Akonta Mining... Ben, you can help me out.
I remember that. I saw that.
Yeah. That was when Akonta Mining was seen to be illegally, engaged in some activities. I believe in the same Tano.
Tano Forest Reserve. I remember
area. And then after that, we made a lot of noise about it. And then not too long after that, the president spoke, the former president spoke, and said, as of then, when he was speaking, they were not engaged in illegality. And people took a lot of exception to that.
When they did their expose to talk about the people that had been granted concessions to mine in forest reserves, after they did put under a very short note that you have to be really inquisitive to actually see, but they did put there that the people are not mining. And the company has come out to say they are not mining. Even when they were mining, they were not doing small scale. But people that are familiar with the way Galamsey works know that one of the biggest problems is that after, say you have a big concession, you've done whatever you want to do. And I have a very, well, can I say a close friend or a mentor who was involved in mining legally some time ago. He had a huge concession and was doing some prospecting for Newmont.
I like the way you add legally.
Legally, yeah. I was doing some prospecting for Newmont because he was hoping to then sell on the concession to Newmont. So everything had to be by the book. When the former president, His Excellency Nanado, came and was put a ban on mining, he stopped and he never went back into the mining sector. What he found was that every time he went to just take a look at his concession, people had encroached. People are mining there. The people in the town that go there to mine on your concession, they don't come and ask for your permission. So if that is the case, and let me just land. All the other arrests that have been made in other parts of the forest reserve, I'm sure some of those parts the concessions have been given to other people. The only issue here is that Akonta Mining is owned by a politically exposed person. And so to be able to deviate attention from their complete incompetence and and their inability to show any true results in their fight against Galamsey, the easiest thing for them to do is that, okay, we've revoked Akonta Mining's license. Let's wait here and see if in 6 months down the line, we'll not still be talking about this Galamsey matter especially in that same tunnel forest, and people will not be there because you cannot just make a scapegoat out of something because, especially because it's Akonta Mining, it will become an issue. We'll talk about it for a while, but the actual problem is not being solved.
So that's what you're saying, that this is just some political gimmick.
It is a political gimmick. Yes, it is a political gimmick. Right. All the excavators that were caught on that concession, have they been able to link a single one to Akonta Mining? The answer is no.
Not yet.
The Chinese miners there, people, it's so easy for someone to throw names about and things. And we know in Ghana, even if you are arrested by a policeman, people name drop to be able to get away with that. As to whether you actually have a relationship with that person, the courts will have to prove it. And so now I'm happy they are actually in power. They have all the power. They've been using the power to go around and take people's cars. So I do not doubt that they will be able to investigate this. So do investigate it. If you find that indeed Akonta Mining was involved, all well. But knowing chairman, if it is not true, and I already saw that he has issued a statement against one of your journalists, and so I'm sure if it is not true, he will also go through the full rigors of the law. And last, let me just land this. We remember
you've been landing for a while now.
No, it's the last one. This is a very serious matter because there's a deliberate attempt to divert attention from the real issue, which I think is very sickening. Lastly, in President Mohammed's administration, season 1, they went on to, again, chairman's concessions, seized excavators, seized so many things, blah, blah, blah. And it was also politically motivated at that time. The matter was sent to court, and a judgment debt was awarded to chairman, over $1 billion. So that even the quantum of the money that he was awarded at that time should show you that he's not doing champagne and one excavator business like we've been shown in the video. So now the onus is on them to prove what they are saying.
You're saying what, Chairman Woon to me, right?
Yes.
And over $1 billion.
You can Google it.
I see. Okay.
You can Google it. When their excavators were seized, he
let
took
me
it
just
to
say
court
this,
and he
and
wanted
then we'll also
judgment.
give ample opportunity to Dr. Aye to speak on this matter. I don't care whose political ox is being slaughtered or not. Galamsey must be brought to an end, and any illegality, because sometimes we forget that there are small-scale miners who, in some instances, have been found engaging in illegal activities, and some would even extend it to the big players. But a point you made, that if you have your concession and people come on it, that's not how it works. If you go for a concession, you have responsibility per the law for those concessions you have gone for, including after mining and reclamation work and all of that is done. In recent times, sweetie, do you recall we had this instance where I think where the police officer unfortunately drowned, or one of those stories. Yeah. It was said that someone who owned the concession, was in,
maybe he was,
and that is one angle. You can't extricate someone and say that simply because, I have no idea. You would have to probably prove that you had no linkage to these people. But once you go for that concession, you are responsible for that concession. Let's not make it like, I've taken a concession and somehow some people, I'm not mining, and some people have come on it. So let's get that.
They are processes.
But I do want to hear Dr. Samaye's.
They are processes.
Let's bring in Dr.
For the final thing, and I hope you were to find that story about the judgment debt, because the interesting thing is after they took those excavators, they then turned around and gave it to NDC illegal miners.
You can prove that?
It's in that story.
It's in the story.
Yes,
can you prove
it? I'm basing it on the story. In the same way, can you prove that the people that were arrested are connected to...
No, I'm not saying that they are. I'm just telling you that you can't say because someone's concession is being mined on. I mean, the person has no knowledge of it.
When you get a concession...
That is quite...
That does not...
Dr. Aye, let's bring in Dr. Aye.
Listen to you. Let's hear Dr. Samaye out now.
Thank you very much. It is obvious that my colleague, Dr. Ekuyamaku, is engaging in obvious premature ejaculation.
Oh.
Because she is in a haste to defend what is clearly an untenable action. She says that, it is because the government wants to politically malign Akonta Mining, which is owned by Chairman Woon to me. That is why the government is doing that. I want to ask Dr. Ekuyamaku. The media coalition against Galamsey, led by Dr. Kenashigbe, when they accused Akonta Mining for engaging in illegal mining somewhere in 2023,
is media coalition against Galamsey a political entity? What political dividend will be derived from that accusation made against Akonta Mining? Look, the approach by the MPP government, which Dr. Kiamako at the time was part of, was basically to bury their heads in the sand like an ostrich when matters come. When matters against one of their own, like Chemawun to me, comes up. Look, in this country, it is clear beyond doubt that under the MPP, as espoused and corroborated by Professor Frimpong Boateng, he said President Akufo-Addo made Galamsey a free-for-all enterprise for any and every member of the MPP, according to his 37-page Professor Frimpong Boateng report. Several investigations were begun by the OSP, by the CID. Before the people of Ghana could blink an eye, President Akufo-Addo has stood on a platform on 4th January 2023 to clear Akonta Mining, even before the investigations were concluded.
But just as we did, just as we felt that some of what Dr. Ikea said was a bit extreme, lampooning everybody. When you say that the former president was, neck deep, allowing anybody and everybody who wanted to.
I am not the one
mining.
No,
I get it. But was it proven to that extent?
This is Professor.
You can't say. No, Doc. Let him make his point. You can't. Professor, I think some of those comments are.
It even goes beyond that. The former Greater Accra Regional Minister Titus Glover said it in broad daylight on TV3 that his own MPP colleagues were the one doing mining. You understand the point I'm making? So there is no doubt. In fact, the Forestry Commission, the Minerals Commission, and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources did not just get up and go to the forest to make accusations against Chemawun. They seized mining equipment that are belongings of Akonta Mining, which is owned by Chemawun. And Dr. Kia says what? The people that they arrested, the over 51 people that they were arrested, including Chinese and some Ghanaians, they made the claim that they were on that concession because of Akonta Mining. And that concession does not legally belong to Akonta Mining, in that they have not, that the concession has not been leased to them. And so what is Dr. Kiamako really saying on this platform? I can understand that he is one of your own, he is a member of your party, but at the very least, you are a doctor. You know actually what happens when river bodies are contaminated with illegal mining contaminants and how deleterious it is to our environment and our health. And so I will be the last, she should be the last person to defend a matter like this. And it goes beyond doubt. It is clear for everybody in this country to know. Look, it is so brazen for a man to be able to even dash out mining concession that does not even belong to him.
Well,
to
not
people,
dash out, more like sell.
They were selling it at 300,000 Ghana cedis and receiving kickbacks. 250 grams of gold a week, which is about $21,000.
Alleged.
And these are indeed, alleged. I was just about to add that.
Look, it is on the basis of this that his license is going to be revoked.
It is on the basis of these allegations. Some has been confirmed, like going on site and the arrests that have been made. But for now, they remain allegations. Once they've not gone to a court of law for this to be categorically stated, they remain allegations.
The mere fact that he hasn't gone to court does not preclude us here from discussing the matter. But there is overwhelming evidence. Are you telling me that the media coalition against Galamsey was also engaged in propaganda? No. Look at our water bodies. Right. Who in this country doesn't know that the 8 years of the MPP was a free-for-all, all-play-all enterprise of Galamsey, as corroborated by Professor Frimpong Boateng?
So I guess we've got your point. But I guess
hold on a second. So the point must be made that the government of John Dramani Mahama, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, the Defense Minister, the Interior Minister, and the National Security Minister are extremely committed, and that for the first time, the people of Ghana in few months will see that indeed there is an actual fight against Galamsey. We will go every mile, and I can put it on this platform on all fours, that investigations will be carried out, and if Akonta Mining is indeed guilty, Chema to me will languish in jail. There is no doubt about it.
So you said that as a doctor,
yes.
You said that as a doctor, she should know better.
Of course.
I just want to ask, are you impressed with the, under the bigger umbrella of actions that we are taking to deal with this menace?
Yes. Yes.
And I want you to compare it to your rhetoric. By your, I mean the NDC, the promises that they made about declaring a state of emergency, all the things that they made.
LI 2462.
Revocation, now amendment. Can you say, one, whether or not you are impressed with how you are dealing with the fight, and can you in good conscience say that you're doing everything you indeed said you would do to tackle this menace?
Yes, we made the point clear that we are against mining in river bodies, we are against mining in forest reserves, number one. Number two, we have seen numerous arrests that has been made. In fact, as I speak, we have arrested over 250 people connected with illegal mining.
It's not just this administration that is making arrests,
but
the promises that you made. That's the question. Let's keep it short because you have to move on.
There's no doubt.
Okay. Are you saying to us that everything you're doing right now is better than the promises that you made to us? As we believed you. That is why perhaps most Ghanaians didn't vote for the Eswal administration, because you said, yes, we would tackle this. We would heed your call. We would declare a state of emergency because of all the non-biodegradable toxins that we are drinking and all that. And then you come and you're amending the LI, you're making arrests, seizing excavators and not even burning them. There's also another controversial issue about whether or not you should burn and use it to track for evidence and all that. Are you doing what you said you would do?
We promised the people of Ghana a blue water. Haven't we launched river guards?
Why are you not addressing the actual one?
I am addressing
to you.
Yes.
The first one is the declaration of the state of emergency. The second one is a revocation of that LI that permits mining in forest reserves. Those two.
Yes.
Why is it so difficult for you to actually...
It has not been difficult. We just came to power barely 4 months ago. Several steps have been taken and we are seeing results. We are seeing results that at the end of the day, there is indeed a government that is committed. As for revocation of LIs, there is no difficulty. We have repealed.
There's no difficulty. Why are you amending? But Ben, and then we move on to other stories. So
if you asked me, I would say that personally, I am more impressed with what this administration is doing in terms of the optics. When it comes to law, it's not just what is done; it's also about what is seen to be done.
Exactly.
So on those grounds, with the number of arrests that have been made and the seizure of excavators and all of that, and some other dynamics, I am happy. I am upset about the fact that the Mining Act, the Minerals and Mining Act, says something specific, yet we are saying that a certain class of people, when they are arrested, they should just be deported rather than jailed, serve their term before they are deported. You talk about river guards, Doc. They are not new. I mean, you see, sometimes that's the problem. It appears we are solving a bigger problem with the same age-old methods that didn't work. Like, I think it's Henry Ford who says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So that is a key point. Let me land.
We'll give you the chance,
When it comes to LI 2462, mining in forest reserves, I think Arosha, Kenashigbe and his group, and all of us, eco-conscious citizens, have been talking about the fact that a revocation is very different from an amendment. I salute this government for what it is doing, but I'm saying that if we want to stick to principle and do exactly what we said, mining in forest reserves has to come to an end.
That's it.
It has to come to an end. And the LI in its entirety, I know it's convoluted, it's not as straightforward. I've had interactions on this, I don't want to go into those. But I'm saying that let's stick to what we promised. However, just coming back to Ikea, and then I'll wrap on these 2 points. I just want to say what I'll say, then both of you can respond if you want to.
30 seconds.
No. Let me finish. When I'm done with Galamsey.
But you give a lot of time.
When I'm done with Galamsey. Both of you can say what you want, and then we move forward. That's what I want.
There's no difference.
The Act talks about operating within a specified time frame, adhering to approved mining plans, demarcating boundaries, complying with license terms and all that. And I'll show you why some of what you said was not apt. Small-scale miners must commence mining operations within 6 months of receiving their license or any other period specified in the license, according to Regulation 24 of the Act. They must conduct their operations in accordance with the mining plan approved by the Minerals Commission. And again, small-scale miners are obliged to demarcate and maintain the boundaries of their concession in the manner prescribed by the regulations. In fact, it goes on to say, they must adhere to all the terms and conditions, and I'm paraphrasing, they must adhere to all the terms and conditions outlined in their small-scale mining license. So your concession, its boundaries, whatever happens in there are on you. They are your responsibility. Anyway, so I just wanted to make those. Okay.
So let's give you both 1 minute and then we move on from Galamsey. Let's
that's a lot.
But you guys have spoken extensively. What more do you want to say on Galamsey?
30 seconds. Okay, well, 30
first,
seconds.
I want 1 minute, please.
Oh no, he wanted to go first. He has something here.
So the point I'm making is that.
And please, we'll stick to 1 minute.
Yeah.
There is no difficulty. The point I'm making is that there is a clear difference between the MPP government and the NDC government. What was missing under the MPP government was an actual commitment to the fight. There was no commitment. Professor Frimpong Boateng made it clear. Several members of the MPP administration made it clear that under the MPP, there was no commitment. That level of commitment has been espoused by this present NDC regime. And with regards to LI 2462, look, the LI basically is about protection of our forest reserves. It is only one portion that gives the president the rights and that power to grant mining leases in forest reserves. It is on the back of that many Ghanaians, and let me admit, some sections of the government, members of the government were saying, it is only that LI that we should repeal. But it is about the optics. Okay. If the people of Ghana, we work at the pleasure of the people of Ghana. If the people of Ghana at this point in time believe that indeed the whole LI, just like we said in opposition, is to be scrapped, there is no difficulty. The government is willing.
How are you still saying this when we are literally saying, yes, that's what we want?
Yes, I agree.
You just said that if the people of Ghana say that's what they want, there's no difficulty. Exactly. But that's what we want.
But the point I'm making is that a lot of Ghanaians have not put their mind to a few things. The point is that the whole LI does not absolutely grant the level of power we are talking about. It is about the protection of forest reserves. It is only one part.
Okay, I think your minute is up.
I just want to make that point clear that the government is to put in place
1 minute.
To quickly respond to yours, I do agree that you have responsibility to some extent for your concession. But I can also tell you that a lot more Chinese and Ghanaians have been arrested on other people's concessions, but we haven't heard their names. That's why I'm going again to say.
Do two wrongs make a right?
No, I'm just saying. So this one is purely political. Number two, Dr. Samiaye is here saying that they've arrested 200 people. To me, it's laughable. After just a little about a year that the MPP took office in 2017, we had arrested almost 2,000 people for Galamsey. And again, you can fact check me on that. He's talking about the...
You're comparing 4 months to over a year.
No, I'm saying, so if you can extrapolate it and see how many people they will be able to...
He says about 250 in 4 months. How much is that in a year? If that trend continues, that's 1,000.
Yes, and I'm telling you, we had arrested almost 2,000. So if you are coming to reset and do better, you haven't done anything. Number two, he talks about the Frimpong Boateng report, and I believe he truly hasn't read it, because I'm going to just quickly read the first sentence of what is under Appendix 5, because I have actually taken the time to read it. Established miners who are members or sympathizers of the NDC. It is well known in small-scale mining circles that NDC members and sympathizers were well established in small-scale mining, especially in the Western region. They acquired several concessions in mineral-rich areas during long periods of NDC reign. They have the money and other resources to not only sponsor NDC candidates, but also support independent candidates in the supposedly strongholds of MPP. I can go on and on about what is in there.
What's the point there?
No, I'm telling you that
small-scale mining is not illegal.
No, I'm telling. No. He's talking about Galamsey right here.
Okay. No, but what you just read says small-scale mining. Small-scale
okay,
mining.
then allow me to go on. If you give me more than a minute, I will go on. There are times when they were even using police officers loyal to them at that point
for the
to
sake
do
of time,
things.
We
were also here when their constituency chairman accosted people on TV and everything. Nothing has been done about that. Nobody has even mentioned his name or brought him to book. But you are trying to divert attention from your inability to bring anything.
All of them must be brought to book. Sweetie, do you know what I find?
All of them must be brought to book.
Forestry Commission officials, some of them, and security personnel were also mentioned by the minister. And that's another area to look at. That's a different conversation we would have on some other day.
Yes, if I were to go on that, you're mentioning somebody mining in the
necessary. Then I disagree with you. I'm not impressed. Not that impressed. And Sam, I know you can disagree with me, but simply because you said one thing and you're doing the other. On the surface of it, it looks good. Like you say, the optics is good. But do you think we'll be making arrests if you completely just shut it all down? Will we be making arrests and be, hailing the arrests as efforts? Well, maybe I sound shorter than normal, but I'm not impressed. Let's do some others, just 3 headlines, and then we go to other papers. Police intercept 33,000 ammunition en route to Benin. Ghana Armed Forces conduct cordon and search in Boko, and Western Region Minister bemoans police bribery allegations in fight against Galamsey. Let me just get some details out here for the first story, and then we can move on. The Volta Regional Police Command on Friday intercepted 33,000 ammunition packed in 132 boxes concealed in an Accra, Benin-bound Hyundai bus with registration number, blah, blah, blah. The move was part of planned security measures to put in place to maintain law and order during the Easter festivities. I find this interesting because we're always talking about gun and how it appears everyone has access to, gun now and fueling conflict in Boko, and not just Boko, some other parts of the country as well. And to know that we are intercepting 33,000, where did it come from? Your reflections, gentlemen, and that's the last story I'm doing. I said gentlemen, sorry.
So, yes, thank you. I think that I want to commend the Ghana Police Service for this interception. This is not the first time ammunitions or other illegal things have been confiscated or arrested. All we must do as a country is to equip and encourage our security services to carry on with their duties. We know that over the past decade, there have been heightened insecurity around the sub-region. Burkina, Benin, Mali, and what have you. Cote d'Ivoire, and the others. And so definitely people are in business. People are fueling it. People want to make some money out of it. All we must do as a country, like you said, is to equip our security services so that some of these things can be curtailed.
Right.
So that they are not spiral out of control for it to get to where it must not get to. So, yes. So
okay, thank you. For me, it's just the numbers. Just tells you that there's more. There's more. There's so much more than we are intercepting. So we need to double up. Dr. Giamako.
I think the security situation in this country is just getting worse by the day, and it's something that I hope that the current administration sets up properly to address. The matters in Boko have escalated greatly, and again, something I've always maintained from the first day after the general election that I had the opportunity.
I'm sorry to interject. What exactly?
No. I will go into your ask me, what do I mean by it's gotten worse? That's where I'm going.
What has escalated?
Yes, the security situation. So let me come. Yes, it has. Do you not agree that it's spilling over into other townships?
You go ahead and laugh.
Okay, so as I was saying.
Yeah, he did that. You lost your flow. I'll help you out here. So you're saying that it's escalating, and when something that came to mind the first day after the election.
Yes, after the election. Because I had gone around the country during the campaign, and inadvertently you hear what the opponents are telling the people. We were here in this country when right after the election, the issue in Obuasi, where people went into the AGA concession and unfortunately lost their lives. Again, thoughts and prayers with them. We can see what's happening in Boko. The people of Boko were told that when the NDC is in power, there's peace. So that's where I was going. But obviously, on the contrary, there's no such thing. The matter has escalated. The police has left the area. So if you don't see the fact that Ghana police has withdrawn from Boko as an escalation, that's on you. And it's, for me, it's the irresponsible way we go about campaigning when we are campaigning. And that's something that, for me personally, I hope that all of us that go around to speak to people to win over their votes try and put the national interest above the interest of winning the election. Because you can't go to a particular place and tell them all manner of lies and fabrications, hoping to win their vote, and then knowing very well that you cannot commit to some of these things. Again, because it's an ethnic conflict, I do not want to go into it so much. Again, like, how is this
is not in Boku, though.
I know.
It was going to Benin that was intercepted. But I did read something else about Boku, about Ghana Armed Forces conducted cordon and search in Boku.
She did,
and they did find some ammunitions as well.
Talk about
why you do that?
The problem, so if you think that the issues of the people in Boko is not important enough to be discussed,
you said the military,
that's the problem.
Meanwhile, the military has taken over.
No, so that's an escalation.
That what she said is not wrong.
That's an escalation. That is an escalation. Okay. So yes, we expect that you sit up now. Then the police, the IGP goes, I don't even want to go into all those matters again, because it's an ethnic conflict and it's very dicey. And so even commentary can worsen the matters. All I'm saying with this matter is we should just be more responsible about how we handle these issues.
Okay, so this escalation you talk about, you're talking about just this 4 months of this administration, right?
I'm talking about the current escalation.
So it's escalated within the short time that this administration is
I cannot even...
No, just...
I'm just saying, I cannot... The escalation obviously looks like it started somewhere from December. I'm not even going to hide from that fact. But obviously, it is not reversing its course. It is only escalating. And that's something we should talk about. If you think talking about that now is a problem because your government is in power, then we are in for trouble.
Let me just ask you a quick question. Has this administration failed, as you see it, as of now, in tackling the Boku situation?
Yes.
It has?
They failed, absolutely.
How then would you reflect on 8 years of the previous administration in tackling the same problem?
Oh, so Ben, that's a very good question. It's very important to know that this Boku conflict is older than all of us on this table. And handling it has... they've been varying forms of trying to handle it. What is making this very painful to me especially is how members of the NDC went around and just because the flag bearer of the MPP at that time belonged to one of the ethnic groups, tried to make it political. That is what has changed. So
some also said that the presidential candidate of the MPP in the last election also was from another side, and they said it was political. Was that right?
Who said it was political? I don't think any member of the MPP tried to politicize that issue. As I said, the problem was that this conflict has been going on for a very long time. The only change was that in 2024, the MPP was presenting a candidate that came from one of those places. That allowed the NDC, the MP for Boku, even the president himself, to come out and make statements that, quite frankly, shouldn't have been made.
Let's bring in Dr. Sam. I don't know whether you've answered my question, but it's simply that if in 4 months a security situation has escalated, and in 8 years the same situation was not dealt with, I don't know what kind of comparison that is.
You see, irresponsible comments made during the campaign, which we've all heard.
You see, the point is that Dr. Kiyamako cannot answer the question you asked her because the position she is espousing does not have legs to stand on. She rightfully said that the conflict has been there before all of us were born. Until the matter has been solved, we'll definitely have to revisit it and always encourage our security agencies to put in place measures to end it. There will definitely be a day that this conflict will end. I will always encourage. That's why I'm not interested in politicizing this matter, because at the end of the day, it is our fellow compatriots that are dying, that are getting injured and all that. I will encourage the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and all stakeholders to put in place measures to end it. In fact, there are something he himself was involved in bringing this matter to its logical conclusion. But at the end of the day, we still have difficulty. That means that there are serious issues that need to be dealt with.
Okay.
As for the politics, all of us can do it. Under the MPP, the vice president, who was the flag bearer of the MPP at the time, is from Mamprosi. Okay. An integral part of the whole thing that is happening. You understand? And he was actually the chairman of the Ghana Police Council. He was not able to end it. But we do not need to continue to do this. I want to, first of all, encourage our security agencies and all stakeholders. Let's put the politics aside all of us can do it, but there is no need. At the end of
you
the
know,
day,
let's put the
it's young. Do you know that doctors?
But you know,
do you know that medical doctors have fled the area?
Yes.
So if they get injured, who will take care of them?
While we move the conversation forward,
that is why we must not, at this point in time, engage in this sort of commentary and tell the government that government has failed in only 4 months. When you have superintended over the whole matter in 8 years and have not been able to deal with it.
Who said when you are empowered?
But you know that many stalwarts and analysts and security officials say that it all boils down to trust. So do you see the wisdom in what she said, that when you tell these people one thing and you don't exactly do what you said, then you're reducing the trust they have in you and the security personnel, and then it fuels the conflicts that's already existing?
The point must be made clear that there may be some lapses and all that in every political commentary and what have you. But at the end of the day, you need the support of the people to be able to deal with these matters. There is no doubt that you may have commented. There are so many commentaries that went on.
That takes us to the Daily Graphic, please.
All right, so let's quickly delve into the stories. World mourns Pope Francis, and that's an interesting one. If you read some of the stories, it will talk about how his doctors had advised going out during Easter and all of that, but he had insisted that he wanted to play those specific roles, and may his soul rest in perfect peace. It's very interesting that right after the Easter celebrations, just yesterday, he was called back home, and we can only pray for his soul, as the Diocesan Archbishop of Accra has also asked us to do. Akonta Mining license revoked. At Kwewu Business Forum, Mahama unveils vision for private sector. All of these stories have been done, so I'll just focus on a bit of Pope Francis. I think Dr. Baumia met him at a point, right? Was it last year? And then for current President Mahama also did. So President Mahama paid tribute to Pope Francis, saying his legacy of compassion, humility, and commitment to social justice will continue to inspire generations. It's good that both of them got to meet him. Some have said, though, sweetie, I'm interested. I think J.D. Vance, the American Vice President, Oceanana.
Ben, don't do this. Don't do this. It was pure coincidence.
Oceana, Nchebia. Hey. Anyway, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has urged the church in Ghana to pray and prepare their hearts for the election of Pope Francis' successor. And you know how it happens. They'll go into conclave. If you see black smoke, no, Pope yet. If you see white smoke, we'll say Habemus Papam. We have a Pope and all of that. It's very interesting. And we just pray that the Lord will...
some of the comments...
Are you asking for an African Pope?
Either an Asian or an African one. Do you think a day will come when we actually see one of them ascend to that position?
Well, one of our own...
Because they said they're the two top contenders, either the Asian guy or the black guy.
Well, I mean, Peter Cardinal, Pierre Turkson, has been in the fray for a long time. There are many times where people have felt. But if you look at the voting numbers, and traditionally, if you look at it, Italians have sort of... Even Pope Francis,
he's American.
Bergoglio, he's actually... His parents are Italian, if memory serves, but he was born in Argentina.
Okay.
You get it? So if you trace it, he has Italian roots and all of that. But let's see where God will lead the church to in this new bit. I'll go to page 13 before I do some international stories, and then it's a wrap for me. I think we've dealt with the local stories here already. 34 police commanders reshuffled in Galamsey areas. Please, don't get excited, both of you. I just want to mention the fact that there's a reshuffle happening. The Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Youno, has reshuffled 34 police commanders in Galamsey-prone areas in keeping with his promise to wage a relentless war on illegal mining activities in the country. Top-level police sources confirmed to the Daily Graphic that this was just the first phase of an ongoing major reshuffle exercise, with many more expected to follow to pump fresh energy into the fight against illegal mining in the country. Why do I bring it up? I mentioned to you earlier, even when Amakofi-Boa was talking about it, he would also mention that you even have some Forestry Commission officials complicit. You have some security operatives complicit. So it is important as well that we have this system where from time to time people don't get too, because if you are benefiting from the system, if you stay there long and all of that, I think this is a step in the right direction. So that's why I'm bringing it in. We've killed 70 soldiers in Benin, Al-Qaeda affiliate says. Church holds mass Easter weddings for 3,000 people, and some are polygamous. A Pentecostal church in South Africa celebrated Easter Sunday with mass wedding ceremonies for around 3,000 people, with many of them entering into polygamous marriages. The International Pentecost Holiness Church said mass weddings were part of its Easter festivities, and the tradition of polygamy, which is observed in some African cultures, has been incorporated into the church. And DR Congo bans ex-president's party over alleged rebel links. That's you had some. Is it surprise on your face when I spoke about the mass wedding?
What a time! What a time they had.
Yeah, it must have been a time. And we also celebrate our very own Kofi Ajay, who also had his nuptials on Easter Sunday.
Should we be celebrating somebody else? I know.
Why are you trying to do this, lady and gentlemen? Please, your thoughts on these stories.
I think I'll just speak on the issues of the Pope. I think I think this particular one is going to be more on the liberal versus conservative lines of election, which will be very interesting to see, because it looked like the former Pope, rest his soul, took a very liberal stance to being Catholic. So I'm very interested to see the direction that the church decides to go on, especially if they are going to maintain
whether they're going to
the liberal
look for a conservative.
Yes, or are they going to go back to conservative Christian values? So that's what's not to say that being liberal is not Christian. I don't want to confuse that, but yeah, that's what I'm very interested to see. I don't think it will be so much on, because the other black candidates, I can't remember the name, but not Kadapia Texan. He's up in the stand.
Is there a Dinkule also? I'm not sure. Arinze.
The last name starts with an S, is all I remember. So yeah, I think he is known to be very conservative in thoughts. So let's just see how that pans out. And minus that, I think on every other thing we have spoken. You said we shouldn't go back to
because this is your final take. You have the last word, Dr. Samiaye.
Oh,
I thought you were done.
No, I'll just go in again just to close the door on this Galamsey matter. I hope that the NDC...
Oh, they're going back to Galamsey.
Yes, they will stop talking about this Frimpong reports, because it implicates them just as much as it implicates anybody else. It has become clear, especially now that they are in government and they are not on the attack anymore, and people can be honest about the thing, that it is much larger than MPP and DC. It is something that requires truthfulness and commitment to be able to handle. So I hope they will drop the political gimmicks and the PR gimmicks and actually get to work.
Points made.
Yes, thank you very much. I also want to make it clear that if NDC members were engaging in Galamsey in the 8 years of MPP and the government at the time could not crack down on them, it underscores the uselessness of the government.
I think you could use more.
You cannot call the government.
Your constituency chairman, have you done anything to him, Sammy?
When you were talking, I was quiet.
No, I'm asking a question.
Give me that respect.
Okay.
I gave you the respect, so give me that respect. Yeah, so if we're in government and Galamsey is killing people, like the way it is killing people, there cannot be any diplomacy. You must be candid and let the people of Ghana know that the 8 years of that regime, the MPP regime, was a regime that was encouraging illegal mining and Galamsey. They themselves told us that the activity was financing their campaign in every election that they were going. That is not happening under the NDC regime. There are so many milestones that we have chopped. Of course, you have reservations, but the point must be made that for the first time, there is indeed a genuine commitment to fight it. The IGP has stepped up to the plate that police commanders who are in these mining areas, he thinks have been compromised. And so there must be some changes. And so many other steps have been taken by the government. And going forward, I can assure the people of Ghana that in just a matter of a year, we will see significant changes in our water bodies and every other thing about mining. So that the people of Ghana at least heave a sigh of relief and pat their back that indeed for once, there's a government, there's a minister, there are some ministers, there's a president who is indeed committed to the fight.
Okay, so just sweetie, it's so interesting, isn't it? This Frimpong Boateng report always comes up. I don't think there's anything new when you talk about the fact that over the last maybe even 3 decades, you've had some members of both the political parties that have ruled this country, NDC and MPP, involved in it to some extent. I don't think that is practically new. The bit about if this was going on and they didn't crack down on it, I feel it would be sad, wouldn't it, within the last 8 years. But what else I find sad is this report that didn't see the light of day for, 2 years until there had to be a leak and all of that. I don't know what that tells you about the commitment in the erstwhile administration to fight Galamsey. And I also see that, I want to link it to this. My prosecution was a witch hunt, Dr. Opuni, you remember him, Cocoa Board and everything. I also see that whenever we talk of anything wrong, and I'm not saying Dr. Opuni was wrong because we know how his case has turned out, and there's a political actor involved, it must be politics. You know, in Dr. Opuni's case, the NDC was hard, it's just political and all of that. Of course, if you follow the case, you know how that case has panned out. But in this instance, with Akonta Mining as well, are we going to say it is politics just because, I mean, if it's wrong, regardless of whether you claim to be a neutral, you are here, right or left, it is wrong. So and it reminds me of one last thing, this quote, Henry Brooks Adams, which is actually in the Daily Graphic today, page 17. I don't know, maybe it's our situation in Ghana. He says, politics as a practice, whatever its professions, has always been the systematic organization of hatreds. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, but so let me. Akonta Mining has also responded, and they're calling it false accusations and political targeting
the CEO
of
says it's
Akonta
a
Mining
lie.
By Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. And I will not read everything because it's quite lengthy, but it says the management of Akonta Mining Company Limited has noted with grave concern the reckless and baseless accusations made against our company by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, during a recent press conference. And they give some pointed explanation or details as to why they think it's false accusations. But the part I want to bring to you is that they are saying they wish to assure the Ghanaian public that Akonta Mining has nothing to hide. We remain committed to transparency, legal compliance and environmental responsibility. All our documents, permits and official correspondences are available for public scrutiny. And I would also skip to the point where it says Akonta Mining will cooperate with any legitimate investigation and take all necessary legal steps to defend its reputation. So I think we should leave it there. Let's do this legitimate investigation.
Let them prove
all the
allegations
there
before we can come and sit here and confidently say it.
It doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot.
No, I said we cannot discuss. Obviously, we can discuss it, but do not say confidently that Akonta Mining is. What's behind this distraction. That's all I'm saying. You went to catch Chinese people and people.
Okay, so
they are working.
Your own Thank you, lady and gentlemen. I'll just add this from. Hello. Thank you very much. So on page 19, NPP denies release of Professor Okwe committee report, and they are saying that there was only one copy prepared and submitted to the National Council. The General Secretary has been issuing that disclaimer. He says certain quotes that we've seen out there are from members of the NDC.
I guess this one,
so I just have to add
can't
that.
say that.
A very happy birthday.
It is not true. The NDC, instead of focusing on.
Let me wish a very happy birthday to Inspector Martha Edu. Inspector Martha Edu of the NPD headquarters. It's from Corporal Ahiable Godwin. And so Inspector Martha Edu of the NPD headquarters, happy birthday to you. And it's from Corporal Ahiable Godwin. He wishes you the very best on this special day. Sweetie?
Yes, I also just found out and I missed it. I'm terrible. Sorry, Uncle. So yesterday was my uncle's birthday, Uncle Weezy Abochi. Thank you so much for all you do for us. I appreciate you. Happy 70th birthday, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Security officials. According to investigators, these officers take a cut as a service charge in exchange for protection and tip-offs in the event of an impending raid.
He has ordered an immediate revocation of Akonta Mining's license and interdiction of all persons involved in this illegality.
In light of the overwhelming evidence, I have authorized the Minerals Commission to immediately take steps to revoke the lease of Akonta Mining with immediate effect. I've directed the Forestry Commission I've directed the Forest State Commission officials connected to these illegalities be immediately interdicted, pending further investigations and prosecution. Security agencies have been notified to investigate security officers who have had dealings with Akonta Mining in this particular forest reserve.
Providing some updates on the ongoing police clampdown on Galamsey activities, the minister said at least 51 persons have been arrested with excavators and a number of ammunitions.
The operation in compartment 19, which began at 5 a.m. on that day, lasted for a whopping 12 hours. And the last 3 days has also continued. So far, 51 arrests have been made, 8 Chinese national, 39 Ghanaian, and 4 women. So far, we have seized about 30 excavators. 5 have been required impounded at the operation base. 2 pump action guns loaded with 5 and 2 rounds of BP cartridges each. 1 single barrel gun retrieved. We have confiscated 2 Toyota Hellos pickups, 1 Toyota RAV4, 4 motorbikes, and a cache of mining equipment. All suspects have been transported to Accra and in the custody of the Ghana Police Service pending prosecution.
Meanwhile, calls still persist for government to halt the deportation of foreigners involved in Galamsey and allow them to stand prosecution. James Avaji's report read to you.
And there you have it, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Amakofi Boa, there interacting in recent days in respect of illegal mining in the country and how some small-scale mining entities have also been involved in what he calls criminal activity. In fact, he talks about Akonta Mining Company and its associates being neck deep in illegal mining. We'll get into the details even in respect of the Western North region, the Samre Boy Forest, the excavators that have been seized, to those who have been arrested. But joining the conversation, we have Maxwell Lukuto. He's member of Parliament's Lands and Natural Resources Committee. He's a member of Parliament. There's also Dr. Abdul Wadud Momen. He's a senior lecturer at the UENR, University of Energy and Natural Resources. All of them join the conversation. Gentlemen, let me just check with you to be sure that I can hear you. Dr. Abdul Wadud Momen, Dr. Momen, and Mr. Lukuto as well. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I believe that's Mr. Lukuto I hear.
Yes, that's me.
Maxwell. Do we have Dr. Momen?
Yes, good morning, Benjamin. I'm here with you.
All right. It's good having you, gentlemen. Let's start with you. I want to start from, the academic standpoint. So, Dr. Momen, in respect of this latest engagement of the minister and what he says, the shape of illegal mining, what has been revealed, what are the key takeaways for you?
Thank you very much for having me this morning, and good morning to your viewers and listeners. The key takeaway message is that we all ought to tread with caution, and that it tells me that the minister and the government is actually taking strong hold of the grip of the assignment given them by the people of Ghana. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Dr. Momen. Please go ahead.
Right. So it gives hope. It gives a sense of responsibility on the part of government, but that does not end it. This is just the beginning, and it's early days yet to make any conclusions. But it also sends a strong signal to the other areas the team is yet to read, that in fact everybody would have to vacate or risk being arrested. These are my early take on this.
For you, Mr. Lukuto, quick thoughts on your, underlying thoughts on these comments or these revelations by the sector minister.
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers and listeners. I must say that from day one, the minister has been at the forefront of wanting to fight, especially to ensure that we have clean water bodies and to ensure that our forest reserves are kept intact to serve the purpose for which they've been kept over the years. And so, seriously, if you see the level of devastation and destruction to our water bodies, you are left with nothing but to break down for Mother Ghana. Yesterday, after a tiring day, having a business summit in my constituency, I went to the riverside, the Volta River, and you see the level of cleanliness, so blue, very clean, and you find so much refreshing in seeing a very clean water. That against the dirty, brownish, cyanide infested, with all chemicals. If you see the water bodies that we used to pride ourselves in, those that provide clean water for our pipes, and if you see the situation they are in today, you are left with nothing but to weep. And so I don't begrudge the minister for breaking down, seeing the videos we have seen yesterday. We have had a lot of conferences as a committee on lands and natural resources of Parliament. We have had some sit-downs, and then we attended some conferences where most of our MPs from some of these mining communities had to give their pledge as to what they could do even locally among themselves together with the communities to ensure that we kept this menace. And so for me, together as MPs, together as parliamentarians, we are resolved that the little we could do to help our people and to ensure that we conserve our water bodies, that we do. And so, yes, so as Prof has said, it's early days yet, but they say coming events cast their shadow.
All right. We have a limited time for this conversation, but I want us to exhaust as much as possible. So please make your submissions brief, but straight to the point on the relevant issues. If you look at, and we'll look at the different angles, because Akonta Mining has responded, the CEO has spoken. But before we get there, you would realize that a quick breakdown of what Amakofi-Bois had to say. Basically, the license of Akonta Mining has been revoked over illegal mining allegations. I did mention that he had stated that the company and its associates were neck deep in illegal mining. Again, there have been accusations of running a criminal syndicate, accusing it of selling illegal mining access in the Aboy Forest Reserve for as much as 300,000 Ghana cedis per concession. Or weekly royalties of 250 grams of gold. There was no permit for the entry into the forest. Despite holding a lease to mine off reserve, Akonta Mining reportedly operated within the Samriboy enclave of the Western North region without a valid forest entry permit, rendering its activities illegal. Then he talks about protected areas being under threat. He talks about compartments 49 and 121. I don't want to bore you by going all over that. Then he brings in the case of undercover investigations revealing an organized network. And there's more. You are in Parliament. You are on this committee. What does this show in terms of the gravity of what has been discovered? And what is your committee in Parliament going to do about this situation in conjunction with the sector minister?
Yeah, sure. So like we said earlier, we returned from Ahafo North and South mines just last week, going on a working visit and a tour of what they do as a large-scale miner. And then we saw the safety mechanisms that they have to put in place to ensure that even if they mine a place, they have to make sure that they replant to conserve the forest cover that they might have destroyed. Right. So I'm sure that there are regulations that all these mining companies, especially the licensed ones, have to go through. We, as Parliament, we have an oversight responsibility over all these mining companies. And so together with our minister, we are ready to go through all the stages and ensure that people who have licenses operate within the safety measures and then what their licenses stipulate. And so like you said earlier, the minister, we have found out that is ready to fight head on, and we are ready as Parliament and as a committee to support him. The last time we were in Sunyani, we met some small-scale miners and the issues they had. We had a sit-down with them, and we intend to have further engagements with them to ensure that we all play within the rules of engagement. Right. Critical is that we should not destroy our water bodies. Critical is that our forest reserves should be maintained. And so we are ready to support and ensure that we have.
Just a quick spin-off. Critical to that, you say our forest reserves should be protected. But when it comes to LI 2462, why are you dragging your feet on that?
No, you see, we have to go through a process to be able to revoke a law that has been passed.
So why are you seeking an amendment instead of a revocation?
Yeah, so of course, we have the remedy within which we need to work. And these things don't happen just because one person feels that this is what must happen. Together as a country, we should all decide on what we want to do. Yes, people are so passionate. If you look at the level of distraction, people think that bingo, everything should just go off. But we need to look at the sentiments of Ghanaians in general. Of course, we can't take away mining completely. But once we go through the processes and ensure that what we have to do, we go through them, I'm sure that we'll together agree on what we have to do. Mind you, Ghanaians voted overwhelmingly for us, and we expect that together we'll think around the problems we have and find common solutions and ensure that what Ghanaians, the passion of Ghanaians, the heartbeat of Ghanaians is what we'll do also as parliament and also as a ministry. So sure that will.
Dr. Momen, coming to you, the lands minister talks about overwhelming evidence. Maxwell Lukuto was just talking about the overwhelming verdict of Ghanaians for the NDC. But the minister talks about overwhelming evidence of illegal mining activities. When you listen to what he said and everything that has been captured so far, how overwhelming is that evidence, especially in respect of Akonta Mining?
Well, Benjamin, I think you have all the records that have been played by your studio, as produced by Erastus, your own colleague. So these are some of the footages they have taken, the minister has in possession, as well as the undercover investigations they have done with recordings and a lot of interviews, and also have taken photo shots of many other sites that he might consider as overwhelming evidence. But permit me to say that I have heard you guys, journalists and a whole lot of reporters say that the minister has revoked Akonta mining license because of the overwhelming evidence. That is not the case.
As of now, that has not happened yet.
It is not the case at all, because it has to take a process. To revoke a license, a mining license, it has to take a process, and that process takes per the regulation and per LI 2176, it has to take up to 120 days. First of all, yes, I'm very happy that the minister and the team have come up with a lot of evidence to support the revocation of the license. And it means that the process has to start. And I'm happy the minister has directed the Ministers' Commission to kickstart the processes for the revocation of the license. So please take note with respect to reporting that the license has not been revoked. The minister has issued an instruction to start the process for the revocation. And the process starts by, first of all, as the lawyers will always say, the courts will always say, the rule of natural justice, the principles of natural justice apply even with regards to the mining lease and mining prospecting licenses revocation. You have to listen to the accused. You have to first of all, notify the accused company of all the breaches that have been discovered, and then allow them, if it is a prospecting license, you have to give them about 60 days to respond before the Ministers' Commission can then recommend officially to the minister to revoke the license for prospecting. If it has to do with a mining lease, with a mining lease, the Ministers' Commission would have to first of all recommend to the minister to suspend. So the process starts with suspension, to suspend the mining lease of a company, and then notify the company of the minister's acceptance to suspend their mining lease, advising the company accordingly with the breaches that actually have invoked the suspension of the mining lease. Then again, the Minerals Commission would have to give the company up to 120 days per the regulation to respond to all the accusations raised against the company's program of works as a breach of contract and agreement. Within these 120 days, if the company is able to respond, then the Minerals Commission would have to review and advise the minister accordingly to proceed to revoke if the minister is not happy with the responses from the company. So this is the process that has to go through, and I wonder if that is going to take this swift turn that the license has to be revoked. It has to take a couple of months, 1 or 2 or 3 months before this can go on. And we have also heard the company also reacting to the accusations from the minister.
We'll get into that reaction as well. And it's a crucial point you make. Indeed, the revocation hasn't fully taken effect. I think it's on the back of what the minister said, that from where he sat, this revocation, on the back of the evidence on the face of it, this was where it was going. But if you're going through the processes, you are indeed correct that all of those processes would have to be looked at. But going quickly back to the Act, the Amendment Act, because there have been conversations around concessions and the responsibility of concessionaires or people who hold concessions. Can someone per the Act simply say that, oh, it's my concession, but I am not on the concession, I am not operating on the concession, but there have been intruders or trespassers upon the land, and so I bear no responsibility? What does the Act say in respect of that?
Well, you have to go refer to the regulation 2176, which speaks to the responsibility of a license holder if it's a prospective license of an area, an area, or if it is a mining lease. If it's a mining lease, you also have a responsibility as a company. There are about 4 trenches of that to do with. First of all, if a company is granted a mining lease and the company wants to reduce the area of the size of the mining lease, you have to first of all fill Form 70 of Schedule 1. And you have to apply for reduction of the area of your mining lease. And the Minerals Commission will have to assess that. First of all, register your application, assess that, and give a recommendation to the minister to take a decision on that. Or they may even reject your application to reduce the size of your mine. And then again, mind you that all mining leases are based on cadastres. And within the cadastre, your concession can be identified. If it is found that there are encroaches in your concession and you have failed to report a criminal activity, which is encroachment in your concession, you are liable. So therefore, the law says that there are liabilities to breaches within the concession, and there are penalties thereof. If a leaseholder fails to report and it is not recorded anywhere that the leaseholder has reported encroachment in the concession for the security to take action, it can be concluded that you are in collusion with the encroachers, if not at all, that you are even the one doing a breach of the program of works for which you have been granted a lease. Then also there is another stage that if a mining company wants to, let's say, surrender a lease, if you want to surrender part of your lease, you have to apply again under the regulation, regulation 168 or 170 thereof, that you want to surrender part of your concession to, let's say, small-scale miners or another subsidiary larger mining company, which may also have to apply. So the regulation also gives room for that. And also that also has to take about 60 days before the expiry of your lease, not until when your lease expires that you have to apply for that. Also, you could also be applying to also enlarge or reduce the size of your mine, or you could also even be applying first of all, at another breath, to even sign off, exit the concession all over. But you have to apply per the minerals and mining general regulations, which has to do with LI 2176. That you can't just give out your license or part of your lease, mining lease, to any person or group of persons or another company without going through the due process, which has to take another couple of weeks or months to conclude.
Right. Now, before I go back to Maxwell, I did say that we would need bite-sized responses because of time. But do you think, on the face of it, on the face of what you know, if that evidence proves to be tenable, if it holds, that Akonta Mining would have some answers or a case to answer on the back of at least what I do know, which has run through, even when it comes to small-scale miners, there are quite a number of responsibilities ensuring that even if you are given this license, you must start mining within about 6 months. There's talk about over a year and some of those concessions not being attended to. How does the law impact that? And the concessionary boundaries and what the responsibilities are. If you're a concessionaire, if you hold that concession, what your responsibilities are in terms of demarcation, maintaining the boundaries as prescribed, which also means, which would imply then that the fact that someone wades into your concession or encroaches upon it does not exculpate you. It doesn't make you not liable. What's your response to that quickly?
Benjamin, what I say is that the regulation is very clear, as you have rightly stated. You are solely responsible for a concession granted you and all that happens there. Before you are granted the lease, you have actually submitted a program of works which specifies what activities you are supposed to do based on a cadastre. And the cadastre also specifies the demarcations with all the geolocations and the coordinates of your mine area. So anything untoward, anything beyond the program of works that have been approved and granted thereafter a lease for mining can be considered as a breach of the contract that you have with the government of Ghana, and for that matter would also result in criminal charges. So that is my take on that.
All right. Let me also bring in Daryl Bosu. He is Deputy Director at Arusha, Ghana, and he joins the conversation. Daryl, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you doing?
I am well. The Lord is faithful. I hope you are too.
Very well, yes. Thank you.
I noted a post of yours on social media. You tagged me, of course, and it talks about what Emmanuel Amakufibua, the minister, has said. And you talk about how the fact that Akonta Mining was allowed to operate for this long is a glaring indictment of failed governance. But I want to hear from you. What does this reveal in terms of the state of where we are in fighting illegal mining?
Thank you. So I think, the developments regarding Akonta Mining and how long they've been able to operate. And if you look at the 2022 issues and how it evolved with they even stopping Forestry Commission staff from doing their job, the former president coming to indicate that they are not engaged in any illegality as at the time he was speaking. Civil society clean up cases that they are active for prosecution and all of that, and nothing happening tells you that the state at the time was somewhat complicit in allowing such display of disregard for the rule of law that allowed for Akonta Mining to operate and even show some kind of, disregard for existing regulations, the work of public institutions and all of that. They continue to work. What is coming out now with the investigation, if you look at the statement, it means that the government really put into effect some intelligence service and some due diligence, went to the ground, tried to verify the information and all that they were hearing. Tells you that this thing has been happening for a long time. And then you'll be surprised that you will not find this situation of people actually cutting up concessions into bits, giving it out for other people to mine illegally, and then taking back either gold or money as a way of payback. So this thing has been happening. But for me, what is coming out is that, look, it's about time we really deploy the intelligence agencies to the ground, because companies like Akonta Mining, when they are found to be engaging in some illegality as has been indicated by the minister, will come out to say they are not. And if you also listen to some of the statements that they have put out already, yesterday, they indicate that they have never mined, they've never mined in the area and all of that. So supposedly saying that this is all concocted to make them look bad. For me, it tells you that, look, we need to deploy our intelligence service and make sure that we have an airtight case against these people, because they're also going to fight back. And to see that the government now is going after companies like Akonta Mining, and if you look at the narrative, how they systematically allow for people to mine in an area that they don't even have the permit to mine and all of that, tells you that, look, this is more deep-seated than we have really paid attention to. And we need to get all our intelligence, all our militia team, everybody on the ground to really fish out some of these big guys who are actually hiding and pushing people to go and mine. Now they are saying they are not the ones mining. So who was mining? And for me, I'm waiting for us to get into it and start really asking a lot of questions when the prosecution starts. I'm very happy the development has happened. This is an opportunity to interrogate it extensively and get to the bottom of it once and for all.
To be fair to Akonta Mining, they have a press release. It's titled False Accusations and Political Targeting of Akonta Mining by Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah. And it says, the management, and I'm just going to give you snippets of it, the management of Akonta Mining Company Limited has noted with grave concern the reckless and baseless accusations made against our company by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and it mentions his name in that press conference. It then goes on to make some points. Akonta Mining is lawfully registered large-scale mining company. In 2022, the Minerals Commission clearly stated Akonta Mining Limited has no mining lease, mineral rights, and or permit to undertake any mining operations in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. They also mentioned that contrary to the narrative being pushed, we are not mining and have never mined in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve, which brings in the concessions and whether you don't have liability for those. They say, in fact, our commitment to environmental responsibility is well documented. They talk about that letter dated the 29th of April. And it goes on and on. On the allegation of taking 350,000 Ghana cedis or 300,000 Ghana cedis from illegal miners to allow access to their concession, they say it's entirely false, defamatory, and mischievous. But my question to you then is, on the back of what the minister has said, and on the back of what Akonta Mining's response is, in your statement, you call for, quote, full accountability, and not just for Akonta Mining, but for every official who has enabled this national disgrace, which then would probably include Forestry Commission officials, security personnel, and all of that. What do you want to see going forward as far as Akonta Mining and these other officials are concerned?
No, I think, Ben, I think for what the statement is saying, that has been the statement from Akonta Mining, is really telling us that, look, we need to do our homework well. If we are really going to go after these big wigs who are supposedly behind the Galamsey activities or supporting all the illegal activities in the first place, we need to really ensure that we do our work very, very well. So for me, I'm happy this has come out. The minister has put out a statement. Akonta Mining has also put out a statement. It will only take a very diligent investigation and prosecution process for all of us to get to the bottom of this. And like you said, I guess they are also saying, and they have every legitimate right to say so, that look, if you are saying that they went into a forest and did some illegal activities, where was the Forestry Commission? Where was also the Minerals Commission? Why do they sit down and allow this thing to happen? These are legitimate questions. And anytime you find somebody illegally operating in a forest reserve for more than a month, even for more than 2 weeks, knowing how the Forestry Commission has teams on the ground, regularly monitoring the forest boundaries, as to who has entered, who has not, they should be able to detect who has really gone into it illegally and therefore check whether they've made the necessary reports for necessary follow-ups to be done. If that is not done, then somebody was also complicit in allowing for the illegal activity to happen. So for me, I am expecting the same manner in which the ministry put into effect some investigations, allow some intelligence team to go to the ground with all the details as they have in the press from the ministry. Right. I expect the same thing to be used to get to the bottom of as to what the complicity of officers of the Forestry Commission or officers of the Minerals Commission. This is very, very critical. Otherwise, you are going to have this statement from Akonta Mining throwing dust and actually watering down all the allegations that the ministry has also put out against them.
They talk about geospatial evidence and all of that. We'll be wrapping the conversation in just a bit, but you made some point, and I just want to quickly look at that. You were asking in that post why the Minerals Commission boss, Martin Ayisi, is still at post. And I want to just link that to the 34 police commanders who have been reshuffled in Galamsey areas per the IGP. Good step. And why do you think the Minerals Commission boss, Martin Ayisi, must go? Quickly on that, very quickly.
I mean, the very discussion we're having this moment about Akonta Mining and all the issues we're talking about, we also heard about the fact that some mining concessions, leases have to be revoked as of from December 7th and all of that. Now, if we are seeing all of these issues, how come the person who was in charge of the Minerals Commission supposedly giving out all these leases is still at post when we are seeing a lot of irregularities with the various leases that were issued out and all of that? It is not tenable, and I don't understand how the ministry can be comfortable with the CEO of the Minerals Commission still being at post. We are reshuffling the police commanders and all of that. We need to reshuffle the CEO of the Minerals Commission.
All right.
I don't really understand what at all the ministry wants to see before they change this chief executive. Because as far as we are concerned, he is also complicit in all the devastation and the irregularities in the allocation of mining concessions all across the country. And so therefore, he should be holding his post.
All right. Darryl Bosu, we're grateful for your time. He's a deputy director at Arosha, Ghana, and they are passionate about protecting our environment. Maxwell Lukuto, you've had to listen patiently. Where do we go from here in this fight? Of course, Dr. Momen has walked us through, and I'll go to you for your final thoughts as well, Dr. Momen. But for you, Maxwell, we know of what the law says in terms of processes of revocation and all of that. Where do we go from here as a member of parliament on the Lands Committee?
Yeah, sure that we need to see some seriousness from us as a government and as a committee on lands and natural resources. We should not be saying just to be talking, we should be saying to be taking action. And for me, Ghanaians should expect that we'll do the best to ensure that we sanitize the system. It wouldn't take a day, it wouldn't take two, it wouldn't take a month. It has to take a little time for us to correct all the wrongs that we have perpetrated against ourselves for all this while. And so for me, yes, Ghanaians have voted for us. We have given them the confidence that we'll do what they have asked us to do. So one step at a time. And the things that we hear, the things that we see, like the gentleman from Arusha, Ghana said, we need more undercover investigations to ensure that we reveal the truth in whatever. We are not expecting Akonta Mining to come and to just say that whatever we are accusing them of, they have done, until we take them through the process. So for me, before we come out to say something, I'm sure that we have done a lot more at the background to have evidence and to be able to prosecute people in the law court. So we'll go through the process, and at the end of the day, Ghanaians will know whether they really are practicing or not practicing. Like you asked earlier, once you have a concession, you have a responsibility to ensure that whatever happens within the concession area, you are liable. And so if you are coming to say that by year, you have no mined, and the people are mining within your concession, even without going to do any investigation, we can all just conclude that it is by your action or inaction that people are there to do whatever they are doing. And you should be responsible and liable for whatever negative outcomes come out of whatever is happening at the site. So for me, we'll go through the process.
All right.
So
thank you.
We'll go through it and ensure that our water is sanitized and our forests are also preserved for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Lukuto, for joining the conversation. Dr. Momen, you have the final word. What for you is the way forward in some 40 seconds? Hello, Dr. Momen.
Yeah, Ben, permit me to first of all invite Honorable Lukuto to our this year 4th annual transformational dialogue on small-scale mining, where the select committee can come and share all the ideas they have and discuss with many other stakeholders. My final words are that, Ben, to be honest with you, from where I sit and what I know, my conscience does not leave me if I don't clear the air that the Minerals Commission CEO has always been dragged into these matters unfairly. What are my bases? If you look at the mandate of the commission and the mandate of the CEO, it is on recommendation and advisory only to the minister. And the minister and the commission and the CEO only recommend, and also they do not have a security mandate to fight on the grounds for people who breach the work programs, that is the illegal mining on site, and have also witnessed a couple of shows on your studio, that the CEO has repeatedly reported illegal mining activities to the police and no action, to the national security and no action. And so with this in mind, I would first of all, I will want to plead with the public, people who accuse the CEO, to bring further and better particulars other than just by me saying that he's a complice to this. Then I would also encourage the ministry to proceed to, I heard the minister say the Attorney General has taken the matter up and has started the initial processes of prosecution. I would want to see the prosecution front speeding at the light of, at the speed of light, going at the speed of light, so that we can see Akonta coming with their defense. Because the evidence is so much rich that it surprises me the company is actually rebutting the allegations raised by the minister. So we want to see how it goes in court.
All right.
Thank
you. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Dr. Abdul Wadud Momen is a senior lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources. He joined the conversation. We also had Maxwell Lukuto, Member of Parliament for South Tone and a Member of Parliament's Lands and Natural Resources Committee. We also had Daryl Bosu, who is a Deputy Director at Arusha, Ghana. All of them joined us for that conversation. Now, when we returned from the break, we set our eyes on the One Village, One Dam project, and we're asking ourselves, will this government continue the project? We'll bring you details of that, a conversation up next on the AM Show. Welcome back on the AM Show. On this belt, we engage a group that has presented its findings in respect of monitoring and evaluating the One Village, One Dam project. We have Bismarck Ayorogo. He's Executive Director, Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, that is NOPRA, and he joins the conversation on this. Bismarck, good morning. Hello, Bismarck. Can you hear me? All right, so we'll try to connect with Bismarck, but in the interim, let's have a bit of an analysis of the One Village, One Dam project, at least as it was planned. The aim of the project was to improve livelihoods and agricultural productivity, especially in the northern belt of the country. So two-pronged, improve livelihoods, and of course you have a lot of farming, communities in the northern belt of the country, and it also improve agricultural productivity, which is tied to income as well. But there have been mixed results, mixed returns, if you look at what the deliverables were versus what it actually delivered. Some of them include poor construction and maintenance of these dams at some costs that some people said were not tenable, and it is alleged that many of the dams were built poorly. They were leaking, there was sedimentation, concerns, and premature drying, which meant that they could not serve their purpose. There's also a bit of a lack of oversight and stakeholder engagement. But we'll get more from our correspondent as he actually visited in the past some of these areas. This is Albert Sorry on that beat.
The One Village, One Dam initiative was launched with the promise of enhancing food security and addressing widespread poverty in northern Ghana, where a majority of the population relies on rain-fed agriculture. However, the small-scale irrigation dams intended to support year-round farming were poorly constructed, and farmers could not use them for the intended purposes. The Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, a civil society organization, conducted some monitoring and evaluation of the One Village, One Dam initiative. Their findings revealed that even the poorly constructed dams have further fallen into disrepair. During visits to dams in Zanlergu in the Napdam district, Kunkwa in the Bolgatanga East district, and Ayopia in the Bongo district, where former President Nana Akufo-Addo first inaugurated the One Village, One Dam project, community members said the dams had dried up by March and were now deemed completely useless.
There is nothing like water as we stand now. It has been dried up, and we are in the month of March, and this is not the time it dries up. It dries up by December, January, which means that we cannot use it as the purpose that it was constructed for.
There's not even a little water in it. There's nothing. If you want to even do dry season farm, you can't even get a place to farm. We will be much grateful if the government could come in to build on this dam.
The Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, says since 2024, they have extended their monitoring to cover a majority of the over 500 One Village, One Dam projects constructed across northern Ghana and discovered that the dams were not fit for purpose. NOPRA, therefore, decided to present the findings of their evaluation of the One Village, One Dam projects to the new NDC government through the Upper East Regional Minister in the hope that this government will revisit the initiative. Bismarck Ayorogo is the Executive Director of NOPRA.
Seeing that the millions of Ghana cedis sank into construction of these dams was nothing but a total drain on the public purse of this country. We want to urge government to, in the name of transparency and accountability, call all actors or people who are responsible in implementing these policies to account to the good people of this country what they did with the taxpayers' money. That today, you go around all the 5 regions in northern Ghana and you cannot see any water in these dams that we have sunk so much into digging. All of them are dry because in this region there is enough water and people who even use hands to dig, they are able to get water. How come we spent on the average 670,000 Ghana cedis each for these dams and we cannot have water? It's a serious matter.
Upper East Regional Minister Donatus Akamukri gave the assurance that the current NDC government will reassess key projects initiated by the previous administration, including the One Village, One Dam initiative.
This does not suggest that the government is going to do witch hunting. It doesn't mean that every procurement that has been done in a shoddy manner. But those of them that Ghanaians are shortchanged, obviously this government will call for serious investigations and then actions taken. We can assure you of that. We've taken it as a guide that all the pro-poor policies that we are bringing into play, we will follow religiously the policy regimes, and make sure that whatever is due the citizenry gets to them.
It remains to be seen when the NDC government will revisit the One Village, One Dam initiative and commit resources to improving the dams to make them fit for dry season irrigation farming. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sorry, Bolgatanga.
The big question on this matter, will the current administration want to continue with One Village, One Dam? Like I was saying earlier, there are positives and negatives. Some will say that the program has the potential of ensuring that dry season farming can take place, especially in the northern belt of the country, which sometimes suffers from drought, and that there could be improved water availability in some areas. But if you are holding this to strict proof and what the boons have been of it, it remains to be seen, with issues of poor construction and maintenance, with issues of a lack of oversight and stakeholder engagements. In fact, the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, which has been responsible for proper dam design and construction, was not involved in many One Village, One Dam projects, contributing to its poor implementation. And the authority itself has spoken on that matter. In some areas as well, mention has been made of the fact that it would have been better to give the people boreholes instead of these dams. Then you talk about insufficient water storage as well as one of the major issues militating against the effectiveness of 1V1D, with many dams said to have had a limited water holding capacity and actually drying up during the dry season, where the farmers would have needed them to actually farm or do any work. There was also the bit about the negative environmental impact, with some studies pointing to the positive impacts of dams on water availability concerns remaining in respect of negative environmental consequences as well, such as flows, changes in water flow and ecosystem disturbance. So all of these have come up in respect of 1V, 1D. And the question is, should it be moved forward? Should this current administration commit more funds to get into one village, one dam. We were going to have an interaction with Bismarck Ayorogo, who is Executive Director, Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA for short, in respect of what their research has revealed. We are still trying to connect with him so we can get the details from there. Bismarck, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Great. It's good to have you. Just walk me through what your research has showed so far in respect of one village, one dam.
Thank you very much for this fine opportunity.
All right, Bismarck, we're going to try to work out. I think you're following on different devices, and that may give us some feedback, some static in there from time to time. We'll have to work on that so that we can hear you loud and clear. But even if you look at the footage we're seeing now, some of those areas and how the dry season had impacted them, you can see the soil itself cracked open, which would mean that no farming would be possible in such areas. Bismarck, so just walk us through what your research has brought to bear.
Thank you very much. We all know that northern Ghana is a place that...
Bismarck, are you following the conversation on television or any other device? If you are, please switch those off and let's just focus on the phone line so that we can have a good conversation, Bismarck.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Very good.
All right.
Yes. Northern Ghana, we all know, is where anytime we are talking about poverty and hunger, fingers are pointed at. And one of the reasons for the extreme poverty and hunger in this part of the country is because of limited water facility for agricultural activities. There is this Professor Miller, that will argue that there is no poverty and hunger in northern Ghana in the rainy season because there is abundance of food for everyone. So when the previous administration came out with this policy of one village, one dam to provide farming communities with water for dry season farming, it was greeted with joy. Why? Because if you look at statistics, especially if you look at, there is a document we call Southern Master Plan. It tells us that the whole of northern Ghana, we have over 8 million hectares of agricultural land. In the rainy season, we are only able to cultivate just 15.6% because of limited access to inputs. In the dry season, we are uneven able to cultivate up to 2% of the total arable land available. Right. And this explains why there is food insecurity in the area and there is poverty in the area. So the policy of one village, one dam, with very noble objectives such as to increase agricultural productivity, to improve food security, to create jobs, and to reduce out migration from northern Ghana to southern Ghana, was something that we're so excited. The people of Ghana were so excited, and those of us from northern Ghana were more excited because of the good objectives of the policy. Okay, so for the sake of 8 years of policy implementation, I think as responsible civil society organizations and responsible citizens, we need to do an assessment to find out to the extent that this policy has contributed to improving food security in the area. Can you hear me, Bismarck? That was...
Can you hear me, Bismarck? All right, so I've been trying to get your attention, Bismarck. Because of time constraints, it took a while for us to get you on the line. I just want us to go straight to what the research really reveals, whether it is positive, it is negative, and what should we be doing?
Of the over 400 one village dams constructed in northern Ghana, none has water for dry season farming. And as a result, the policy has totally failed in contributing to realize its objective of improving food security, creating jobs, and reducing out migration. There is no any other dam under the one village, one dam policy that has water in the dry season that all of us in northern Ghana need the water to engage in agricultural activities.
So it is clear of the over 400 dams, one village, one dam projects that were set up, not even one has survived. Not one has water for farming in the dry season, like you say, per your report. But then, moving forward, per your analysis, is there a need still, because the dry season will still come, is there a need still in these areas? How do we meet that need? Boreholes, dams, better dams? For example, you would realize that there had been the conversation about the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority saying that it hadn't been engaged on many of these projects. Do you think it would be worth the while of all of us for the current administration to also get into the One Village, One Dam project?
You see, small F dams that predated or that existed before One Village, One Dam in northern Ghana still have water. That means there is water in the area that when dams are properly constructed, we'll be able to get water for dry season farming to help reduce poverty and improve livelihoods. So it is worth investing in One Village, One Dam, or it shouldn't just be One Village, One Dam, but it is worth investing in irrigational infrastructure so that farmers are able to engage in dry season agricultural activities. It is also more important that we even tap what we see as a challenge in northern Ghana, the scorching sun. We see it as an opportunity where we can do solar energy to be able to power mechanized boreholes for agricultural activities in the dry season. People who are well-to-do and they are able to do mechanized borehole using solar panels or solar energy, they are able to really do a lot of agricultural activities in the dry season. So there are options that government should look at, particularly that we have this renewable energy as a policy that this government also prioritizes. It is important that government looks at that, construct that proper dams, and then also invest in building solar panels or solar energy using the sun in the northern part of the country to be able to power these mechanized boreholes for farming communities to be able to engage in agricultural activities for improved livelihoods.
All right. My final bit to you, and it has to do with this, because we were told that 426 of these dams were built. That's according to Hawakumsin. Okay, so 426. And she mentioned that the cost was between 200,000 and 250,000 Ghana cedis. I've seen some instances where we are talking about 670,000 Ghana cedis. So let's just do this. If you are doing the calculation, if you use 670,000, and I'll do both of them for good reason. If you multiply 670,000 by 426, you get 285,420,000 Ghana cedis. If you multiply the 426 by even 200,000, right, you get 85.2 million Ghana cedis. Would you say that these sums of money we are mentioning are worth it in terms of what we see now, cost versus value? What would you say? Those will be your final comments.
Yes, it is not worth it. It is a drain on the national purse. Look, we're told 250 million per dam, but our research shows that we spent, like you said, 670,000 on the average, because we tracked over 275 dams, and some of the dams were really costing over 800,000 Ghana cedis. So we tabulated or calculated all the dams, the amount for each of the 270 dams, and when we struck the average, it was 670,000, not the 250,000 that were told. And I think that this money is just a drain on the national purse, because we use the annual budget funding amount of Ghana's petroleum revenue to construct these dams. And it's like we have just thrown the money down the drain. That is why in our previous report, we came up with a report that Ghana's oil money on dry dams.
All right. Thank you, Bismarck, for engaging us this morning. We're grateful for your time. When time allows it, we shall have further conversations. And that is Bismarck Ayorogo, whose team came through with that research piece. But do stick and stay. Sweetie Abochi will be right back, and we're engaging Mavis Kuku-Abisio on her plans for the Akanta constituency. There's a lot of talk coming from that constituency. What do they mean to achieve? Well, we have the Member of Parliament joining us right here in the studio. We'll be right back.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah. I was doing some research on you.
Oh, really?
Looks like you're a history maker. So since 1992, the Akanta West constituencies never had a woman.
Yeah, a female. Yeah.
And since 2012, that the NDC lost to the NPP, it would be the first time that the NDC is coming back to win that constituency.
Yeah, and
so I want to get to know who is this powerful woman doing all that before we get into the Akanta language. Okay. How do you normally introduce yourself to people who don't know you?
Like you said, I'm Mavis Kuku-Abisio.
Yeah.
And a hunter by birth.
Okay.
And who had the opportunity to school in Akanta a bit, and on the Nzima land as well, and then moved to Accra.
Okay.
Then had the opportunity to travel outside Ghana for a long time.
How long is a long time?
Like over 20 years.
Over 20 years?
Yes. Mm. So in between, I came back home.
Yeah.
To see what's up.
And then you just entered the arenas of power.
Yeah, see family as well, be with family and all that.
Okay.
And started a business somewhere along the line. And realized that there's a lot that I could do to help when it comes to Akanta West.
Okay.
So started with becoming a philanthropist.
Mm-hmm.
Small, started helping out. And then in between, I was approached.
Oh.
And then I decided to take the bait.
Yeah.
And see what would happen. And
here you are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Are you enjoying it so far?
So far, so good.
How interesting is it for you?
Being a woman,
yeah,
it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting, and I'm still learning.
Okay.
Because it's a very long process. You can't say that, yeah, I'm done. No, I'm still learning, but it's interesting. Sometimes a bit stressful.
Yeah.
But once you have decided to do it, then you must just
do it.
Do it.
So this Akanta language project, from my understanding of it, you want to introduce teaching and learning of Akanta language in schools, not just in the Akanta West constituency, but all the 5 constituencies in the Akanta land. But you want to start with Akanta West. So tell us about this project, and then we get into the details.
Akanta West is my constituency.
Yes.
So that is where I want to start with. Along the lines, if other constituencies which happens to be on Akanta land decides to join in, they're going to be welcomed, and then we'll do it together.
Okay.
But for now, I'm starting with Akanta West, where I am the MP.
Okay. So what inspired the launch of this initiative?
It's a long story.
Okay.
I think, first of all, I schooled there. My parents are from there, but unfortunately, they did not speak it at home with us. We spoke Fanti.
Which is the predominant language there in the constituency? No?
No, not really. It's supposed to be Akanta.
People speak Akanta
but
more
because
than
we
Fanti?
have other people from different walks of life in Akanta West, then they speak all kinds of language anyway.
Okay.
But Akanta, I think, is reigning
at
the moment, which we want to change that. It doesn't mean we're not going to speak Fanti, but we just want to do something about the language before it disappears totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to introduce a Akanta language not as a teaching tool, not as a mode of teaching, but as a subject in the curriculum.
Yes.
And you've done some consultations.
Yes, I have.
So tell us about the findings from all the consultations you've made, and then we can talk about the mechanisms in place to actually materialize this.
The consultations with, I think there's other people in the constituency doing bits and pieces. Like we have the ones that have actually translated into in the Bible into Ahanta.
Okay.
We have other people that have written a few things, storybooks and all that to do with Ahanta. And they are here, they are here and there, and it's not coming together.
Okay.
It's not coming together. So the whole idea is to bring all these people together, form a committee, and then work with them so that we can actually include the language in the curriculum.
Okay.
I had a word with our education director, and he mentioned to me how difficult it is, as in bringing the language into schools, because we don't actually have teachers to do it. So then I had to consult other professors in linguistic schools and all that to find out how best we can do it. So we recently had a meeting, and then we arrived at us forming that committee, working together, and then encouraging some people who are teachers already to be able to come forward, have the courage, and they speak the language as well, to go to Winneba, go and do an MPhil or probably a doctorate in the teaching, and they can come back and become teachers for teachers.
So more like training the trainers so they can teach eventually.
Yes, they can teach eventually.
So, you know, we already have some languages that we are being taught, like the Akan, Ewe. I did Ga in junior high school, although I didn't know Ga, the first thing about Ga and all that. Are you striving to introduce Ahanta language as one of these elective languages that are taught in schools nationwide, or this is just peculiar to your constituency and maybe the other surrounding constituencies?
For now, it's peculiar to my constituency.
Okay.
Because that is where Ahanta is spoken a lot. Now, along the line, because I'm going to be engaging our Minister for Education a lot when it comes to what I have decided to do. So if along the line, they feel like, well, we want to include it everywhere, well, I can't stop them. But for now, I think it's supposed to be, and that is what I'm striving for, to bring it into Ahanta land so that we can learn it. At least if it's just one primary school that we're going to start with, then we can start it from there.
How does this fit into the National Teachers Education Curriculum? Is it framework also? There's a policy framework that guides what is taught in schools and all that. If you're introducing a language into a school or into a constituency, I believe there are some mechanisms in place or some systems in place that have to align. For example, teachers, you talked about training the teachers and all, but in terms of the curriculum, developing a curriculum for it, even how far it goes, whether it remains in only your constituency and what use it would be if it's only in your constituency and all that. I want to understand the end goal and how you're working towards getting there in terms of the broader framework of the National Teachers Education Curriculum Framework. I think that's the correct thing. Yeah.
It's a journey that we have just started and hoping that we'll end it well. Determined to make sure it happens. So now all sort of consultations will be done to get to where we want to get to. So we'll be engaging a lot of these professors and people in education and all that to see how best we can actually put it where it's supposed to be. Because of course it has to be
sustainable.
Yes.
Because I want to understand how we can sustain it. And if we are going to sustain this, other constituencies might also start saying, let's introduce my language. Which reminds me, when I was in high school, we did a debate, one of these NCC debates about nationalization of one Ghanaian language. We haven't been able to do that yet because everybody wants their language to be the one that is either nationalized or take priority over the others. So in terms of sustainability,
I'm fighting for Ahanta West. I'm not fighting for Ghana.
Right.
Because we have all kinds of languages in Ghana. And once I'm fighting for Ahanta West, somebody else wants to fight for that is their prerogative.
No, but even in Ahanta West, I'm sure they have like Wasa and Fanti and other languages.
They are all there.
But so all there. How do you make it make sense to those people that you want to prioritize a Ahanta language over the Fanti or the other languages that they would probably like over the Ahanta language?
It's a Ahanta land. It's a Ahanta. Do you get it? So somebody who might migrate from Sefi into Ahanta West. The person is Wasa. They live in Ahanta West. They also would have the opportunity, if they have children, for their children to learn the Ahanta language if they want. Do you get what I'm saying? People might migrate from Cape Coast, Shama. There's a lot of people from Shama living in Ahanta West at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a Ahanta land, like I said.
Okay.
So once it is done, they would have the opportunity for their children, because they might be too old to say that they're going to learn or go to school. But the opportunity will be there for their kids to learn if they want them to learn.
Okay.
So I'm not discriminating, but
not at all, right?
That's the thing. It's a hunter.
Okay.
It's a hunter. So that is where my focus is.
But you see, that argument sits in the national one of which Ghanaian language. Your constituency is a microcosm of the country, right? And if the country as a whole, we are not doing that, we've not prioritized one language over the other, which I think if we did would help us. I mean, if we have a language that is identified as Ghana, I think that if you do what you intend to do, it would all go well for you if you take into consideration Wasa, Fanti, and others, and how it can also, align with your goals without any controversy. Because these things have a way of sparking conflicts it's avoidable.
Yeah, but I can also encourage my Wasa MPs
to also champion their own.
Yeah, so that if somebody lives Ahanta West and they go and live in Sefi or let's say Dwabuso or wherever, then they would also have the opportunity to learn the Wasa language. And funny enough, when they are speaking the Wasa or the Sefi, you can actually hear Nzima somewhere in between the Sefi language. So it tells me that all languages somehow they are mixed up together. Because even with Nzima, sometimes you hear some of the words, you think they are mentioning some Ashanti word.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? So we are all in between. I'm not trying to spark anything.
Sure.
But I just want to present a hunter.
Okay. What's the impact? What's the impact of this? I mean, the broader vision, what's the end goal? What do you hope to achieve at the end of this?
For kids, because myself, I said earlier, I grew up there.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to travel. Because I did not actually learn it in school. Once I got to somebody else's country, I didn't have anyone to speak with. So I ended up forgetting. And then when you speak, anything that you speak, I will understand by speaking it back. So the whole idea is for kids to get into it, learn it properly in school. And then once they have the opportunity to be like me and travel, then they're not going to forget. Then again, research is also, because I didn't just get up and say I wanted to do it. I've done a little bit of research. And it's telling me that children that are actually taught in their own language from a certain age tend to thrive better than those ones that actually started with unfamiliar languages. So, for example, if a child goes to school and then in a Hanta language, you tell them, Okuneku, yeah, Anwe. Then it's 1 + 1 is 2. So with a child that is growing, because she or he speaks it at home with their mom and dad, as soon as you say that, she grabs it and then is able to, even with a stone or then they know what they are talking about. But 1 + 1, now I have to
translate.
Even the word plus has to be explained before there. So I think that the bigger picture is for these children to be able to thrive in whatever they do.
So in the long term, do you hope that other constituencies will also prioritize a particular language there so that it becomes like a teaching and learning tool and makes it easier so they can get the benefits that you're talking about in the long term? Is that a vision?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to start with the Hunter way. So if they want to join, because there are other constituencies that are Hunter as well, like Esikado, Sekendi, they are all there. Yeah. So if they want to join in somewhere along the line, I don't have a problem because I don't mind working with a team. But for now, I'm just doing it now.
Okay. We do have to go. I mean, if you want to hear more from... I hear they call you Akanta Brony.
Yes.
Is that true? If you want to hear more from Akanta Brony, watch out. We'll probably bring you Women Power Politics, a conversation on that. But I know Galamsey is one of the big problems in the Akanta West. How are you tackling that in your own way? What are you doing? First of all, well, let me add that we saw the Lands Minister shed some tears yesterday. Are you nearly moved to tears yet?
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, what's your strategy?
We're depending on what the Lands and Natural Resource Minister is bringing to us. Of course, it's destroying a whole lot. Water bodies. Yeah. There's been a few times where young boys have come to me with different kinds of ailments, and it's all as a result of Galamsey, because they're always in the water, working in the water, and diseases like bilharzia and all that comes out of it. And there's also been babies, with hole in their heart.
True.
It's sad, and it's all, the whole thing is creating problems for us. So we're willing to fight to stop it and make sure it's done properly. We're not saying that we're going to stop mining, but the illegal one is what we want to stop. Okay. So I'm with the minister. I'm going to fight with him to make sure we do the right thing in Akanta West.
Okay. What would be your final word for us? It's a short conversation, but you have the final word.
Yeah. What I want to say is I'm calling on all Akantas in the diaspora, everywhere, all walks of life, because we don't want our language to, as the children will say, extinct. Dinosaurs are extinct, yeah. We want to leave our language intact. We want to, if it's going, we need to reverse it and bring it back. We want to keep our culture intact.
Right.
And the only way to do it is to make sure that we keep the language going. And if it has to start with children from primary schools to do that, then that is what we're going to do. I know it's an overly ambitious project, very, very ambitious, but I'm determined.
How are you going to fund this?
For now, it's just me. That is why I'm calling on my people outside, hunters who are everywhere, and feel that what I'm doing is important and they buy into it, to just come and support in diverse ways, money, whatever that you have. Yeah, so that...
They're giving me revolutionary vibes, like, yay, let's... But we have to go. But if it came down to it, and we had to nationalize one Ghanaian language, would you put a hand up? If it came to you to decide to nationalize one Ghanaian language.
Please don't put me in that position. Because I'm a hunter, so I'll definitely say yes. But I think we'll go for what
everybody
Ghana wants.
True.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And hopefully we get to engage more.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So that there is Member of Parliament for Akanta West Constituency, Mavis Kukwa Bisu, Akanta Brony, and she's leading the charge to include Akanta language in the curriculum for her constituency. Thank you for coming. You want to stay with us because we'll bring you more conversations on the AM show. But you do know that each year, the Ghana Climate Innovation Center produces and airs a series of documentaries to showcase its businesses' climate smart innovations and their impact on the community and the country as a whole. We'll bring you more when we return from that break. Please stay.
GCIC was established in 2016, and over the years, the Ghana Climate Innovation Center has incubated about 196 businesses who have been able to create over 30,000 jobs and have also avoided about 3 million in carbon emissions. Yeah.
How was your experience working with GCIC?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, so when I met GCIC, I was a young business, of course, as a young female entrepreneur in an all-new emerging market. My product is very new to the Ghanaian market, so we locally produce EcoPeriod, which is high-quality, eco-friendly, non-toxic and affordable reusable parts as an alternative, a safer and sustainable alternative to the single-use disposable parts in the market, which are heavily studded with chemicals and plastic. So when I met GCIC, I needed, the guidance, I needed the business strategic development strategies and insights, and I needed funding to scale whatever I was doing because we had gotten traction. So that was when GCIC came in with, the knowledge they gave me, the skills I needed with, master classes, Coursera courses, and then specifically they designed programs for women entrepreneurs. You know, as women, we think differently. Women and men think differently, and we do business differently. But GCIC was able to design a project called Women Entrepreneurship Transformation Program, which was specifically tailored to support women in entrepreneurship.
Dear, what you're saying sounds interesting to a lot of our viewers, and I'm curious to know, how did you get into that? How did they select you? No, Joel, you should answer that. How did you select, or what are the qualities you're looking for from young entrepreneurs before you can bring them into your incubation?
Yes, so to begin with, GCIC has been able to incubate businesses from all over Ghana, all the regions in Ghana, and we have a selection criteria which we look at before bringing in businesses. So first off, you need to be a business that is legally registered in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to have been operational for at least 3 years, and you have to have at least 3 employees. So 3 employees, we mean yourself as the business lead or the business owner, and 2 other employees. We also have some revenue expectations of the businesses we want to incubate, and it currently stands at 500,000 cedis per annum. That brings it to about 40K roughly per month for the business. We also have some key thematic areas we look at when we are selecting the businesses, because a lot of work has gone in to identify the key areas that our support will be most needed. And those areas include renewable energy, particularly solar, energy efficiency. We also look at climate smart agriculture. We also look at domestic waste management, and then water purification and management. But you also have a lot of businesses who need support, who may not necessarily fall into these umbrellas which I've just stated. So we have a category which we classify as the greening category, where a business may not necessarily be operating sustainably, but shows a huge potential for growth and also to be transitioned into a much safer, much cleaner, and a much sustainable way of operating.
And let that materialize.
Yes.
So in the long term, what do you hope? Because when these businesses come in after incubation, they grow out, they go and expand. And I'll come to you to tell us what life has been after GCIC. But at the end of the day, what is the end goal for you?
Yes, so, GCIC believes that one of the very important sectors in Ghana is the SME sector, employing a lot, contributing significantly to the GDP of Ghana as well. And GCIC believes that these SMEs, or small and growing businesses like Amdia's business, Eco Period, will be the big businesses of tomorrow. And if we are taking some form of climate action to try and safeguard the environment and to try and ensure innovation in the climate space and to build resilience against climate change, these are the businesses who, when equipped, tomorrow will be in a good position to help fight this challenge we have.
Thank you. Yeah. I like that. So, Amdia, let's talk about how differently your life is and also what's next for you with your beautiful products.
Yes.
Hopefully I can try one, then I can give you a review.
You will be addicted. Anyway, so life after GCIC has been transformational for me, impactful as well. So with GCIC, they supported me to bulk source my raw materials, which reduced my operational costs. We also purchased equipment. We even worked on our package.
Wait, what does that mean? They gave you funding to purchase this equipment?
Yes, they gave me not just funding.
How much did they give you? Can she say?
Yeah, she can go ahead.
Please,
and say.
I'm curious. How much did they give you?
Okay, so I got 21,000 Canadian USD, yes, which boosted my business. I was able to source bulk raw materials, employ more people, increase my equipment, production increase. We also were able to reach more people with our products, access new markets. So currently we've been well positioned through GCIC, not just the funding, we also got technical training. We got business development strategy. Initially, I needed a boss. Now I'm my own boss.
No, I'm the boss.
Because of the training, they connected us to experts, top-notch trainers who helped us to develop our businesses. Currently, we are well positioned. EcoPeriod is currently looking to establish Ghana's first reusable pad manufacturing factory with a 50,000 capacity. And the government is actually working on a policy for free pad distribution. So this is, I mean, this is where GCIC, in fact, they've well positioned us as an alternative for government's policy, because this is eco-friendly, it is healthier, and it is also going.
If I leave you, you'll not stop on this. So let's move it forward. I mean, coming here, listening to you, I know you're doing a wonderful job, but you came here with a message. So I'll give you 30 seconds to tell us what that message was that you came for us, Joel.
Okay, so as part of the incubation program, GCIC offers a number of support services to these SMEs we incubate, which include entrepreneurship training, which comes in the form of master classes, both in person and online through Coursera learning platform. We give portfolio management or business coaching. We also give technical support. We also give the grants. And we also...
Okay, let's do this way. Is there a contact, a website, so that they can get more information if they need it? Let's put that out there.
So you can look at us on all our socials, which Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we also have a website, GhanaCIC@ashesi.edu.gh. And currently we also have an open call for Code 11. So businesses who are interested, when they go to our socials, they'll see a link to apply. When you go to our website, too, there'll also be a link to apply.
Joel,
and then we screen and then...
Thank you so much. Joel Batel Sasante is Technology and Product Development Manager at GCIC. And Ahmadiyya Abdul Latif is the CEO of EcoPeriod Reusable Menstrual Products. And she's a beneficiary of GCIC and the wonderful work that they're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And that's that for this conversation. But we're excited to discuss the launch of the second cohort of the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship in Ghana, following the success of the inaugural cohort last year. This initiative will... Okay, I'll tell you more about it after this short break. The launch of the second cohort of the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship in Ghana. And this initiative will empower selected EdTech companies with vital business and financial support, as well as expertise in science of learning. In the studio with me this morning, Ifua Gambra Sampini is co-founder and CTO of Craft Education, and Richard Dodu is also CEO of Meta School AI. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Okay. I want to start with you, Mr. Dodu. Tell us about Meta AI.
So Meta School AI is...
Meta School AI.
Yeah, Meta School AI is an AI-powered learning educational product where we use AI to help students learn online. Mostly we focus on foundational learning for BEC and WASI students. So far we have over 44,000 students and we are doing some very good work.
And I want to hear about Craft Education as well.
Okay, so Craft Education... have a long history.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start with what the problem is. So we know that in Africa, there are about 13 million children under the age of 15 who are living with a learning or behavioral challenge.
Okay.
In Ghana, there are about 200,000 of these children with us. Now, due to lack of access to screening tools and diagnosis services, children are not really able to access quality education. Unfortunately, our ministries across Africa, education ministries across Africa, are also allocating just about 2% of educational budgets to support impacted children.
Okay.
So this is why Craft Education exists. We're just here to provide support to parents, teachers, and therapy centers and therapists generally who are providing support to these children.
Okay, so as a participant in the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship, what specific goals are you looking to achieve at the end of the fellowship? That is for you, Mr. Dodu.
I think to us, the most important thing that we are looking out for is impact. How do we expand our impact as a startup? How do we reach more students as a startup? And Mostly we are here in Accra, and when you go to deprived areas within Accra, education is very different there. How do we reach those students? So these are some of the questions we are trying to answer from the MasterCard EdTech Fellowship. Equally important is the application of science of learning. Most of the times we just learn. And when we started Meta School AI, we're just building the solution from a tech endpoint. Right now, what we are looking to answer from the fellowship is how do we really incorporate the science of learning in all that we are doing? And these are the things we are looking to get from the fellowship.
I think it's interesting because people just assume learning is something that we do naturally, but there's a science to it.
There's a science to it.
Yeah. And what about this MasterCard Foundation Fellowship that you can leverage to amplify the work that you're already doing?
Okay, so we're very excited to be part of this cohort because the fellowship really opens us up to more relationships with governments and institutions that actually have the power to create the systemic change that we need to provide truly inclusive classrooms in Ghana and across Africa.
So can you provide a specific example of how Meta School AI has enhanced learning outcomes for students? You're both educators, but Mr. Dodo, I want to understand how Meta School AI has actually improved. Maybe share some success story with us, improved some lives.
Okay, so one of our major features that we've really seen a lot of students get onto our platform. When we started Meta School, we were just recording videos. So all our content were just video based. Today, we've been able to build a technology that when the students watch the video and they have a question, they can just ask the video. So the teacher is solving 1 + 2 = 3, x equals x. The teacher may do something the student may not be able to follow. In such a scenario, the student can just ask AI. The students will just ask the AI, how did the teacher arrive at this? The AI take over the teaching. This is serious engineering that we've been able to achieve.
If we go that way, are we ever going to need teachers?
We are still going to need teachers.
Yeah?
Yeah, we are going to need teachers. And what the AI is doing in this instance is that they are only helping the students learn in instances where the teacher may not be available. Let's say this particular student will be taking this lesson maybe at home on a tablet. The teacher may not be available at that point, but the AI steps in and is able to cover that space.
Okay. If I want you to weigh in on the arguments, because some people say that AI is just going to make the next generation or this one dumber because you can just get every information you have, reduces your critical thinking. I've heard so many arguments, and I want to know what you think as an educator. Do you think AI is a superpower that is enhancing our work and making our lives easier, or is going to replace our thinking abilities? Or even, in his case, remove the teachers from there completely?
It's going to force us to think in new ways. That's what I can say about it. It's definitely not going to replace the teacher. The teacher is irreplaceable. When you think back to teachers that really made an impact in your life, it's more about the feeling you got from how that teacher taught you in the specific way that you needed to be taught. So teachers are not replaceable. AI is definitely not going to replace.
Thank you. So Crafts Education and Meta School AI, both of you, say again, you have something to say? Yes, go ahead.
I just, this month, the month of April, is Autism Awareness Month. And Crafts Education is focusing on children with learning and behavior challenges like autism and ADHD, attention hyperactivity disorder. So I just want to take a moment to really appreciate the parents, therapists, therapy centers, and schools out there who are doing their best for children with learning and behavior challenges. Craft Education is here to support you. And I just want to broadcast our number, the number to our WhatsApp chat bot, which is 055-341-2940. So this
Please take it again.
055-341-2940. Okay. So essentially you can access screening tools learn simple activities that you can do with your child at home, and essentially learn more about how you can support your child
right
at home.
Thank you so much, Ifua. I'll give you the final word because she's had hers already. Yeah.
So we're really making impact. If you're any student, I think what we're seeing right now is that BEC is coming up. You can just download the MetaSchool app from the Google Play Store to really enhance your learning. And one of our latest features we've been able to release right now is our exam prep feature, whereby teachers take students through the exam questions line by line. So download the MetaSchool app from the Google Play Store, and let's make learning fun.
Well, thank you all for coming. Ifua Gambra Sampene is co-founder and CTO, Craft Education. And we also have Richard Dodu, CEO, MetaSchool AI. And they're both, are you called followers or fellows? Fellows of the MasterCard EdTech initiative. Thank you for coming. Stay with me. Ben and I will come and wrap up in a bit. Well, Ben has abandoned me, so it's a wrap for the day. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay for News Desk, and by all means, log on to myjoyonline.com for more news stories. I'm Sweetie Abochi. See you tomorrow.